It's time for Windows Weekly, the beer edition. Oh, baby. When you get Paul Thurrott and Mary Jo Foley in studio, Daniel Rubino from WP Central, to talk about this year's build, you know you've got a great show. It is also a long show, one of the best shows we've ever done. Windows Weekly is next. You stay tuned.
Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for Windows Weekly is provided by CacheFly at CacheFly.com. This is Windows Weekly with Paul Thurrott and Mary Jo Foley, episode 356, recorded Friday, April 4th, 2014. Build 2014. Windows Weekly is brought to you by IT Pro TV. Are you looking to upgrade your IT skills or prepare for certification? IT Pro TV offers engaging and informative tutorials streamed to your Roku, computer, or mobile device for 30% off the lifetime of your account. Go to itpro.tv/WW and use the code WW30. And by Audible.com. To download the free audiobook of your choice, go to audible.com/Windows. And by ShareFile. Enhance your workflow. Send files of almost any size easily and securely with ShareFile from Citrix. Try ShareFile today. For a 30-day free trial, go to sharefile.com, click the microphone, and enter Windows. It's time for Windows Weekly, the show where we talk about Windows and Microsoft and all. And boy, what a great week this is. I'm drunk before the first line out of my mouth. What a great week this is to talk about Windows and Microsoft, because the Build Conference is in San Francisco, and that brought a flurry of Windows geeks, including Mary Jo Foley from allaboutmicrosoft.com. So nice to see you.
Thanks, Leo.
It's great to have you here. And Paul Thurrott, you did this last year, and I wasn't here. I'm so glad I could be here.
Thanks for making it this time, Leo.
I showed up. Paul Thurrott from the Supersite for Windows, winsupersite.com. And along with those two, Daniel Rubino from Windows Phone Central. Great to have you, Dan.
Morning, everybody. Or is it afternoon?
Morning.
It's a long night.
And thanks to Liz Romero in our beer department, we've got a very nice selection of beers here today. Are you gonna, or what are we gonna do? Are you gonna do some tasting notes, or are we just gonna?
Sure.
Gonna do some check-ins.
What are you drinking right now?
I am drinking a double IPA, Apocalypse.
Oh, you've mentioned Apocalypse.
Apocalypse,
before.
right? And it's really hoppy. Yay!
Yeah, it sounds terrible.
Later we'll make Paul.
I'm Paula. I'm into hops.
Paul and I are doing Le Chouffe.
Yes.
Belgium's best beer, which makes it the best beer in the world.
I was going to say, which makes it the world's greatest.
The world's greatest beer. And for some reason,
I have cider.
Daniel's drinking cider.
It's like apple juice with
I
alcohol.
don't know if you
drink.
even mind me mentioning this, but I ran into Brad today, so I know that you were out.
A little late last night, yeah.
I'm impressed that you're drinking it all.
Yeah. Oh,
I
yeah.
know.
Yeah. It's,
Care of the orchard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, we're glad to have you all. We do not, normally on Windows Weekly, I have a fairly nice, rigid script of things that I can and cannot say.
Yep.
Today, we are
wide open.
working without a net. Wide open. I did tune in for the lovely and talented Joe Belfiore's demonstration of Cortana, Windows Phone.
Should we all kiss the picture?
8.1.
Yeah.
You know, one thing I noted, and I felt bad because I was a little snarky. We had just completed our coverage of the Amazon event, and we switched right over to Joe, and he's looking even more emo with that haircut than ever before. And I'm afraid I mocked him slightly.
I am almost positive Joe has not aged.
Yeah.
I've known Joe since 1995 or 6, and I am reasonably sure he still can't grow facial hair.
but he's got a lovely mop. So we're going to keep him here because he's here in spirit. He did a great job, and as you pointed out a couple of weeks ago, he's one of the most beloved demo guys at Microsoft.
Yeah, he's fantastic.
So is that the kickoff keynote? How did it begin?
Yeah.
So
That is literally
That
how it
was
began
it.
with Windows Phone.
I know it was kind of surprising.
As all
It was
keynotes
like
must.
Windows Phone up first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why do you think? I saw an article on Business Insider today that said Satya Nadella in 6 days has completely changed the face of Microsoft.
It's a little unfair, but
it feels that way.
That's how it looks from the outside.
Right.
But
There's definitely a change, I think, in the attitude of people. It's a lot. There's a lot more
he's not
happy.
God. He didn't create Microsoft in 6 days.
Obviously, some of this had to be in progress before.
It was.
Yeah, I think
It
that's what a
was.
lot of it is.
Right.
Nevertheless, he's going to get some of the credit because it all seems to be under his Tenure starting last week where he said, give me my iPad, something you would have never heard Steve Ballmer, who stomped on an iPhone.
Yep.
And then they brought out an iPhone on the keynote.
So that's different Microsoft.
Yep.
And I was very impressed with Windows Phone 8.1. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, we should have Daniel tell us.
WP6.
My understanding is Daniel knows a little bit about Windows.
Yeah, just slightly. No, it's almost like it's very overwhelming because there's so much in there that you almost don't know where to start. But I guess the two big features everybody's going to talk about is Cortana and the Notification Center, which we've sort of known about for a while that they're working on. But, you know, Cortana is a big deal in a lot of ways. I think it's a good marketing thing compared to Siri. And you have Google Now. It's going to be a really powerful system. I think the big surprise was that they actually called it Cortana.
Yeah.
We were all hoping that they were going to do that, and they mocked themselves a little bit.
Yeah,
you know, what they were going to call it. But and the Notification Center, and there's a lot of subtle changes in the OS. It's actually going to probably take weeks to document all the little changes, and it's I was actually just surprised that they opened with Windows Phone, and then they actually stuck with it. I mean, that was actually a long presentation.
It wasn't like, let's get this out of the way.
Right.
Cortana was easily 30 minutes of that presentation.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
But I think that's one thing that's interesting. Again, the change under Nadella is it isn't Windows
Although,
anymore.
you know, obviously Cortana and Windows Phone 8.1 had been in development for many months, 18 months or whatever. But, you know, it did give them that thing that they wanted, which is you wake up the next morning and look at the news and it says Microsoft releases Cortana to compete with Siri, which is exactly what they wanted.
Yeah, true.
To be seen on the same page as Siri.
Right.
Right.
You know?
Well, and I think they are, or Google Now. I mean, it really is a three-horse race.
Right.
Well, in the sense that Siri is kind of publicly famous. You know, people. Normal people
that's the
have
name.
heard of it.
Yeah.
Well, in fact, where they have an advantage over Apple is Apple, of course, chose to protect people's privacy, not to aggregate data. They don't have a search engine. They don't have a way of getting those signals.
Sounds
Google
really
does.
limited.
But Microsoft's got Bing. It's got. I mean, it really.
Well, it has the stuff that Bing connects to, and it has the third-party app integration, which is a cool bit. So they did, you know, Facebook and Twitter, and
they also silo the information, which is so. I mean, they're literally, as always, in between Google and Apple on this. They're collecting information, they're using stuff, they're reading your emails, but it stays on the device, it doesn't go to the service. And you can actually go into what's called a notebook and like change that and tell it what you want to save and what you don't want to save. So they've got the best of both worlds. And I think that's the argument that they want people to hear. They've done a little bit of both. So.
And VPN. Let's not forget VPN.
Sure, yeah.
New feature.
actually they forgot VPN.
I know.
They never mentioned it, but
VPN is back. Yay.
So it's built into the phone. So if you have a VPN server at work or you use a commercially hosted
There's a
VPN,
bunch of stuff.
you could connect with it and be secure as you serve.
yeah, a lot of stuff that you would associate with sort of mainstream Windows is appearing in this release. For example, the desktop and the command line. No, wait, I'm sorry. No, but you know, it's
PowerShell. It's back, baby. Yeah.
There is a lot of.
Do I
there's a lot
have
of Windows stuff.
autoexec.bat? Because I would like that.
ADFSS or AFD.ss.
So, your impression of let's stick with Cortana for a little bit. Your impression of Cortana compared to Siri or compared to what Google is doing. One of the things I was impressed. His sister called, you know, in the
My
demo.
sister.
Oh, sis, don't call me now.
Better than his kids.
Yeah, true.
But because he had texted her earlier about asking about the puppy, it said, "Don't forget to ask her about the puppy." Now,
It's cute.
Yeah.
Creepy.
well, that's the question: cute or creepy?
Creepy.
No, okay, no.
A little bit on the
It's
like
only
it.
creepy when Google does it, Leo. And
At least you're honest. Well, that's the question, and I think, but the siloing is a response to that a little bit, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, this idea, and Mary Jo and I were talking about that yesterday about like who's going to be using this. You know, I think it's really good as a public tool for Microsoft to have, and it's going to be very powerful with Windows and Xbox eventually. But whether people actually use it or not will be a total personal decision. I'm not necessarily comfortable talking to my phone.
Yeah. I'm more uncomfortable when other people talk to their phone.
Yeah. So I mean, when I'm home alone, you're right. I peek into
Actually
it,
true.
What are you doing?
yeah, but it's good. It's good publicity for them, and that's what really what matters.
Yeah.
What I find as a Siri user, and mostly now Google, is I use it for dictation a lot. Cortana does dictation well.
It's good.
We don't
It's going to be
know,
great in
I
a
guess.
car. A car is a great place to talk to a phone.
Yeah.
Right? And not
You
look
don't
at
wanna
it.
type. Yeah.
Yeah.
And command-wise, it does everything you'd want. Launches apps, which is something that tells
Well,
you
not just launches apps, but integrates with the app.
Yeah, I liked how that did.
Put something on Facebook or post something to Twitter, that kind of thing.
Or Skype, right? They showed the Skype integration.
Yeah, and there's also Foursquare.
Cool.
You can tell it to check in or look for specials.
So with Skype, you could not only say launch Skype, but you could say call Joe on Skype, and it would launch Skype. It would look up Joe in the contacts and then call him. Right. That is great. Now, is that only because Skype's a Microsoft product? Or will
it's open to third parties.
It's an API. Or a hook. I guess it's not exactly an API. It's something that the app would provide the operating system with the hook.
No, I don't know. It'll be detailed in the SDK, but
it's definitely API.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Yep.
Any other features you think are important to Cortana?
She has a sense of humor.
She's funny.
Right.
You know, you can say, "Who's your daddy?" and she'll say Bill Gates.
She also has the best of the voices, if you ask me.
Yeah, she does.
She sounds very human.
Yep.
Well, that was a little bit of subterfuge.
Because that was really a human.
Yeah, so there's two aspects to Siri. There's the synthesized bit, which is what you get with Siri. What did I say, Siri? I'm sorry, of Cortana. They're not the same thing. I don't care what I just said. And that's that kind of robotized, kind of computerized voice that you get with a lot of speech synthesis. Then there are the bits that were pre-recorded, which are just her voice, and they sound very clean. Right. And
it is a little jarring right now.
So it's going to improve over time.
It will, so there are some pre-recorded phrases, like my daddy is Bill Gates.
Right. That stuff will sound very clean.
Excellent.
Now, over time, that's going to improve.
Yeah.
And that's one of those things that it's just going to take some time. It's a beta.
Right. Yeah, you get the impression that some of this was last-minute decision-making and approval to do things. So the whole Jen Taylor.
Well, it came in at 6 days.
Yeah. The whole Jen Taylor thing doing the voice was not something.
Jen Taylor being.
Yeah, for the voice of Cortana for Halo.
Halo being.
I know, right?
Is it the same? Is it Jen Taylor? Is it the same woman who's doing it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, she's actually signed on and they'll be recording. So, but that as
so
far
unlike
as
the voice of
that's
Siri,
a job
who was
for life.
Surprised to discover she was the voice of
that's
Siri.
That's like
right. Totally.
Yeah.
That's winning the magic prize. Let me see if I can pull up the video of some of this demo, and you can talk a little bit about it.
But it really is. I mean, Cortana really is sort of like this combo of Google Now and Siri. Like, for instance, when you launch it, it'll give you a summary of your day, your news, your weather, traffic, and you can tell it the things you're actually interested in, and it will configure that. You don't even have to have that do that. It's also neat. You can just type in the window, and she won't talk back to you because it's presumed that you want it to be quiet, which I think is actually
it's beautiful.
That's a great idea.
Yep.
And then if you shut it off totally, you just get Bing again, right?
Oh, is that true?
I think so.
That would make sense, yeah.
I asked that, of course.
And that's a
I'm
question
little
people are
worried
asking.
about
Well,
it.
what about the countries that don't have Cortana?
Right.
How does that
You get
work?
Bing.
Because it takes over the search button. So now instead of handing your phone to someone and they see the Bing screen, they'll see Cortana by mistake because that's the button everyone hits by mistake. With Windows Phone.
Yeah, and it's completely woven throughout the OS. And Internet Explorer, if you do a search, it actually hops back to Cortana because Cortana is ultimately powered by Bing. So.
Right. They should have called it something Bing. That would have been great.
I think
Bing voice.
No.
It's pretty impressive. I think what's going to happen is there'll be a back and forth. There we go. Here we go. Here's some of the demo stuff.
Here's an example.
What phone is he using?
Show me all the Japanese restaurants in Seattle.
So that's the new Windows 8.1 phone from Nokia that won't be available until the end of April.
Here are 10 Japanese
So
restaurants
that's
in
actually an
Seattle.
interesting point too about Cortana in that
How
it
long
will
will it
work
take
on
to get to the
every
first one?
Windows phone that runs Windows Phone 8. It's not a high-end
It'll
phone
take
feature
38
for
minutes
everybody.
to drive to Kisaka Sushi Restaurant.
That's how we
I
got
could have
here.
said this
Sushi
multiple
restaurant.
ways, but Cortana understands
This is
what I mean.
interesting because this video
Sometimes, however, voice may
is
not
like
be
his
the best.
rehearsal for the actual
If I'm
live
constantly
performance.
Yeah.
really loud or in the middle of the meeting where
It's
I
kind
can't
of
talk.
Do
disorienting.
you think he
Type-
sleeps in a
Here's
hyperbaric
an
chamber?
example. Remind me to pick up the new
They've added the slide
Miley
keyboard feature.
Yeah,
This
the
is
shape
part of
keyboard
Windows 8.
album.
Yeah.
The shape writing.
Next
it's actually
time
really
I'm
impressive.
at
I'm not used to it, but
mall.
Yeah, I still haven't switched over to it
it's
completely.
a funny
but
thing to.
It's
It's
not
great for
me,
one-handed.
It's for my kids.
I really prefer it on Android. It's what I use.
You'll notice
Yeah.
Yeah, a
Cortana
lot of
understood
Android
what I
people say
typed
that, yeah.
completely.
What's nice about it,
She
it's
confirms the
completely
location
optional. There's
and
nothing
then
to
shows the
enable.
reminder
You just choose
exactly
it or
as I wanted
don't
it.
use it.
She also respects that I
It's
wasn't
not,
speaking.
It's not a special
So
mode.
she
Right,
doesn't
right.
speak up in her response to me.
Availability.
Next
We're
time
gonna
I'm at the mall,
keep Joe running.
Yeah.
And when this is something we just
But that's
talked
not
about.
all.
This is a fairly short
Cortana
video,
is
but
the only digital
yeah.
assistant
So
that can
we should
set
talk about how this
people
is going to get
reminders.
out into the world. I
Let me
guess.
show you how this
So
works.
obviously we've got the new phones
Watch this
coming,
here.
and that
Next time I speak with my sister, remind me to ask her about her new dog.
I see. So he wasn't texting his sister.
No.
He actually gave her a reminder.
Notice Cortana
So
is
that's not
smart
so
enough
creepy.
to know
That's not
who my
creepy.
Except
sister
when you
is.
call her, it comes
Now
up.
this reminder.
It would be creepy if it
will pop
deduced
up
that
next
from
time
Oh,
you
wait.
interact with
email
my
or
Yeah,
other
that way.
The
conversation.
reminder is a new feature in Windows Phone 8.1.
Doing
Right.
reminders.
Yeah, because you had to come up with OneNote and stuff like that, but it wasn't the same, or an
Cortana is
alarm.
really
But yeah, this
very
is like an
powerful.
advanced feature.
Yeah,
Even
it's
knows
a
how to
separate
interact
feature.
with
So
other
looking at
apps
right
installed on the phone.
he's looking at his sister's dog.
Hulu is launching a
So,
new
all right, so schedule-wise, what was, do you
series that
remember off the top of your
highlights
head, the phones, how they're getting out into the world?
I do
How
remember them
that's-
saying that
Yeah.
on new phones, end of April, early May, we'll start to see new
Yeah.
Windows phones
Right.
like the 635.
Well, I mean, we only
With
know about, we
8.1.
know about 3 of them.
Right.
What are the 3? There's the 635, which, as you said, is not high-end. It's a
Right.
mid-range
Right,
phone.
630 and 635. They're actually pretty barren. I mean, I don't even think that has an ambient light sensor, and they got rid of like a lot of that. It has no physical front keys, and they got rid of the camera key. So
Will they not
Oh, they don't
offer a
have a camera.
high-end?
I didn't even
No.
notice that.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Will there not be a high-end, a 1021?
No, there will.
The
And
That's the 930. So the 930 is kind of their, I would say, high end, but for the masses. It's not like a niche device like the 1520. So that's gonna be sort of, but that's the rest of the world. It's basically the same device as the Lumia Icon on Verizon, that's a whole weird thing.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad I didn't, as Mary Jo did, buy the Icon.
I'm happy I bought it.
Oh no, why? It's good.
she's a warning for all
She
of us.
will
Leo.
get it,
Wait,
but now that's the second question: is for those people who
Right.
have late model Windows phones, when do they get it?
Well, so Microsoft was really smart with this. When they announced Windows Phone 8, they announced that they're going to do an enthusiast program to allow people to update their phones before carriers.
That's really smart.
But that took a long time. Like, we almost thought that they abandoned that idea, and it was only.
I think we reminded them. I
Yeah,
think
right,
they-
yeah, I remember.
I think they had forgotten.
Yep. And then it was like late last year they finally put it out there. And so what that is, it's meant for
$50,
developers,
right?
No, it's free.
It's free.
Yeah, yeah.
You can do it free.
It's meant for developers, but it's really kind of a wink and nod because you go to the there's an App Hub and App Studio, and you just log in, and then you download an app to the phone, and you just log in
yeah,
with your Microsoft.
Do you have to
account.
register as a developer
Yeah.
prior to doing that?
It's free.
Right, but
Yeah,
that's
but-
free.
All you do
Yeah,
is log into the site.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
it.
That's it. Now I'm a developer.
I mean, you've signed away things to Microsoft. The point is, you get the key that you need.
Yeah.
No, there's nothing. Weird.
so those bits will be available when? End
Soon.
of April? Soon. Sooner than that.
in April.
Yeah.
is what
In
I said,
April.
yeah.
Okay. We're in April now, I believe.
Yep.
Yep.
All right.
Let me rephrase that. Sometime in April.
This month.
Yes.
Sometime that is not today.
Anyone with a Windows Phone 8 device, and even like someone like with a Lumia 810, which is on T-Mobile and it's not expected to actually get this update officially, they will be able to install this app from Microsoft. They launch it and they enroll in it, and then they'll get the update,
Yeah.
and they can keep it for as long as they want.
So you get the Cortana, you get the swiping keyboard. What
Yep.
else? Reminders.
Yeah, improved apps. Calendar's been improved. Skype's been improved.
Yeah, the calendar's been
Well,
revamped.
Skype's been added, I should say, and then improved.
Yeah, you got the action and notification center. So that's one of those features where I think people are going to use it like a dozen times a day easily. I mean, they're going to just use it all the time, and it's sort of easy to overlook how important it is.
Well, anyone who's used an Android phone or an
Yeah.
iPhone knows how awesome having that notification center is.
Yes.
And how crucial it is.
Yes.
And the version in Windows Phone is particularly good. It does a kind of a nice integration with the apps. And so if you push off the reminder of new unread emails in the Outlook app, and you go back to the start screen, the tile no longer has
Right.
those numbers. It's a nice.
That's impressive because like iOS doesn't do that apparently. You can dismiss the notifications in iOS, but then like say you had a WhatsApp message, you go back to the home screen and your WhatsApp icon will still have the little number badge, which means you'd have to open that up just to clear it, even though you might already know. So that goes to show sort of the deeper hooks that they're doing with it, and it's fully configurable as far as the quick action buttons, which I think a lot of people have wanted. They still didn't get everything right. I think one of those quick action buttons a lot of people wanted in emerging markets was a data toggle switch, and that's something that seemed like it was simple that they overlooked. So,
yeah. And then what's your
Enterprise.
yeah.
anyway, Daniel? So
Let's talk more about notifications.
Xbox Video.
VPN. You get VPN. You get mail encryption.
Yep.
Right.
Tell us all those acronyms.
S-MIME.
Yes,
S-MIME.
S-MIME.
S-MIME's great.
Yep. Certificate management. You get mobile device management capabilities.
Wow.
Woo.
And this was stuff that was in Windows Mobile years ago.
Right. I know
They
everything that
lost
you
it.
lost
Yeah.
is coming back.
Right.
Right. And so this is really great because I've talked to so many business users who say, I'd like to get Windows Phone, but it's missing everything I need, basically.
Yeah.
Right.
And so now this is all going to be part of 8.1.
Right.
It
Yeah.
strikes me that new start screen is kind of busy.
Well, it can be. It doesn't have to.
right.
If you use small icons.
Well, and you can put a background image on the start screen, but it works the opposite of the way it does in Windows.
Right.
It doesn't. It's not on the outside bits of the tiles. It comes through the tiles.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
that
makes
can-
the tiles transparent.
Yep.
Yeah. So I think kids will love that, and I think adults will not
I
love
liked
that.
it. I thought it was cool.
It's really dependent on what
Yeah.
image you choose. If you
Right.
choose like
Yeah.
a photo that has bokeh and it's blurred out and
Yeah.
it's not high contrast, it actually works very well.
Well, it also depends on which tiles you have and where, because some
Yeah.
tiles are still opaque,
Right,
and they
right.
will block the image.
Yeah,
But it has that neat parallax view.
Yeah.
Where, like,
so if
you're
you made
showing-
it big tiles, you could look like the old Windows Phone. You don't have to have that. It seems like
Oh, of
just
course,
a lot
yeah,
of
you
stuff
don't have
going
to.
on.
And actually, that's another
Here's
neat
the
thing.
action
So,
center.
yeah,
Swipe
so
down
in
from the
that
top
screen,
there.
that's
Yeah.
probably a 1520, but which has a 1080p screen, so you get that kind of density of tiles. But they're bringing that to all of the phones. So even if you have an
Yeah,
800
that's
by
a lot of
480 screen,
tiles.
well, you at least get the option.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
on a
Yeah.
1020,
you
for
want the
example, I would
option.
want that kind of display, and you can't get it to
Right.
980. But it's
Is there
coming
anything
anyway.
different in these notifications? They look very much like Android or iOS.
Oh yeah,
notifications.
yeah. No,
What else?
so with the notifications, developers get a lot more options, including. So like right now with the live tile, first of all, you have to have the app pinned to your start screen to get the tile to give you a notification. This is one of the reasons why we wanted a notification center, because you don't necessarily have apps pinned to your screen.
Right.
But sometimes you don't want like an alert to wake the phone.
Yes.
So if someone liked your image on Facebook, I mean, it's
I don't
nice,
need that
but you don't need to wake that up.
I need that kind of feedback.
So you can actually go into the notification setup and go by app. So you can go Facebook, turn off banner notifications, don't vibrate the phone, and you can even have it not show up and just show up in the notification center. So they're kind of like these ghost notifications where you can go to the action notification center and see it, but your phone won't alert you to
Right.
it. And that gives developers a lot more flexibility. Developers can actually update those notifications through the app themselves.
I just hope the configuration of this works, because I notice on Android and iOS both, you can configure notifications on kind of an app-by-app basis. And then your phone buzzes and you look at it, and it's the app that you just told you not to give you notifications.
Sure.
And it takes a while to kind of hunt these things down, because they all work
Yeah.
a little differently. And it's, the sheer number of apps that can give you notifications. can be
Welcome to the world of Android and iOS. Problem we've had for years. This is a big jump for Windows
Yeah, it
Phone.
It's really
Yeah.
big.
More than just an update. This
It
is
is.
a really big.
Which is why they call it
version.
8.1.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, right.
There's the
Yeah.
background example, by the way. I was going to show
Yeah.
the video.
That kind of parallax
That's
effect.
a little
Yeah.
bizarre, but
But again, teenager.
teenagers
Mary
going to
Jo.
love it.
Me and the teenagers are gonna have that.
But I think it was really a surprising decision, because when I was first coming out that's sort of what they were doing, a lot of people, I mean, everybody thought it was going to be in the background, and they did.
It looks
Yeah.
like this. This is fake. There's no way they're doing
Yeah,
this.
yeah, and it was actually like really. I mean, they once again did it differently. They did it their own way, and I thought it was actually a smart decision. And if people don't like it, they don't need to use it. So,
I don't like it, they can use iPhone.
yeah, right. Yeah,
Well, I think it's interesting that they're kind of threading the needle between Apple's privacy
Yeah.
policy
Yeah.
and Google's privacy policy.
I think that's the sweet spot
There's
for
probably a
Microsoft.
place there for,
Yeah.
yeah.
The same thing with even the devices, right? So they actually have a range of devices, but it's all the same user
Same thing.
experience.
Yeah.
And
You know.
more than Apple, less than Android.
Yeah, exactly.
It's interesting how they're almost always right there in the middle.
Yeah. You also have Internet Explorer 11 is new in there. The email client's been updated with a lot of new features. Yeah.
The Xbox apps have been split out, so there's an
Sure.
Xbox Music, video, there's a podcast app, and there's a separate FM radio app as well.
You mentioned Xbox. Cortana on Windows Phone is not the same as the voice on Xbox One now.
Right.
You have
But-
to think that's changing. In fact,
but
I
that will
can't
probably
believe they
change.
didn't spend more time on that. Cortana would make plenty of sense on Windows tablets, on
Yeah.
But it's future.
Xbox,
It's a
yeah.
future.
Yeah, yeah.
And Windows too.
They got to
And your
get it.
desktop, absolutely. Yeah.
So they didn't talk about it at all, but we've heard from people we've talked to it's coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, they got to get out of the U.S. first, because
They do.
Cortana will only launch in the U.S.
Right.
first and then go out to other
Yeah, let's
countries.
talk about that. That's
that
what
always makes
happens.
people happy.
Well, but it
know.
happens because you've got to have
Yeah.
recognized
Localization.
different
Yeah.
It's going to
languages.
take them months and months just to get the U.S. English version right.
is.
Yeah.
and then you have
And-
guys like Dr. Pizza and Tom Warren. It's like
talking about
you can never expect
Tom
it.
Warren's review is going to tell you that Cortana sucks because Tom Warren doesn't speak English. Is he, I mean, you can't understand a word that he says. Like you have to take like a second to listen and say, "Oh yeah, okay." So that's going to be interesting. I'm actually curious. To
It's
see
going
how
to
that
be
goes.
interesting. Yeah.
It's a common problem.
Right.
Though, in these
Sure, of
these
course.
kinds
But isn't part of the reason too that it's launching only in the U.S. because of Bing?
Yeah. So Bing is heavily U.S. focused,
Right.
much to the chagrin of a lot of people. I mean, because Windows Phone does better outside the U.S.
I know.
And so it's always a weird thing. But I mean, Microsoft is a U.S. based company, and it's easier for them to test in their own
What
backyard.
do you mean Bing doesn't work internationally?
Well, it does. It just has more features in the U.S.
Right.
A lot more
Bing Rewards.
features.
Yeah.
It's, you guys probably I get this feedback all the time. I'll
Right.
describe some awesome Microsoft initiative. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter what it is. And they'll say,
Yeah.
oh, Tharad, it's
Yeah.
you live in the United States. You have no idea what it's like in Australia or Canada or whatever third world country you're talking about. and we don't have these things.
Third world?
I can't.
Gentlemen, you have my permission.
Whatever the hellhole is.
He's joking.
War
He is.
zone, whatever.
He's really joking. All right, we're going to take a break. We've got a great panel. And, of course, Paul and Mary Jo are here in studio, along with, they brought 60 of their closest friends. Nice to have you all from all over the world. Also here from Windows Phone Central, WPCentral.com, Daniel Rubino. And is that right, Rubino? Did I say that right?
That's right.
Not Rubino.
No.
It's not from Australia.
But build wasn't just Windows Phone. I'm sure there's a lot more to talk about, and we'll do that in just a second. Our show today brought to you by our friends at IT Pro TV. We know a lot of you are IT professionals or interested in getting the certs that can help you get a better job as an IT professional. There's lots of ways to learn that information. Certainly many of you have tried schools and classes. Others have gone to the bookstore and picked up books and so forth. But if you're watching this show, you might be interested in IT Pro TV, very influenced by the screensavers and what we did with the Twit network. In fact, the folks at IT Pro freely admit they stole everything from us. Same microphone, same switchers. In fact, if you look at the set, it's even very similar to our set. They've redesigned. I want you to visit itpro.tv /Windows/WW and visit, and you'll see some very new stuff. 30 hours now are added each week. The episode library covers courses on CompTIA, Microsoft, Cisco, including A+, CCENT, NetPlus Security, MCSA. They have new higher-end security courses from ISC Squared, including SSCP and CISSP, featuring Adam Gordon. Some really hardcore stuff. That's really wonderful stuff. You can try it for free if you visit. They just this is a new website, newly redesigned, and they have now a very basic free plan that lets you watch live via Roku and the web with selected courses. That's a great way to start up. But I think you're going to want to try the subscription because you get a learning management system that helps you track your progress, a virtual machine sandbox lab environment, so you can try it in the sandbox, which is great. Measure Up practice exams are included with your subscription. That alone worth $79. Annual subscribers can also now download episodes in audio-only MP3s so you can listen in the car as you're driving. It is, in fact, I think one of their most requested features. They listen, folks, and they give you what you want. Corporate accounts also available for departments and companies. You'll find more if you acquire on the support page for that. So check it out, itpro.tv/WW. Upgrade your brain with the most popular certifications recognized by employers. There's also a free preview on the site if you want to check out some of their videos or visit the live video stream. Let's go there right now, see what they're doing on IT Pro TV. Subscription is normally $57. By the way, see, they have a chat room just like us. You can ask questions as they're teaching. And I did mention that you can get this on the Roku as well, which is awesome. I have no idea what they're talking about here. Piggybacking, fencing, lighting, cameras. I have no idea what this is. But I'm sure it's useful. This is the beauty of it. You can get those courses. If there's nothing on live that you want, they got everything on available for download. Now, the subscription is normally $57 a month or $570 for the entire year, much less than you'd pay for a school or even those teaching materials. But we've got a special offer because they are fans of Twit and we're fans of them. So if you sign up now and use our offer code WW30, WW30, 30% off your subscription for the lifetime of your account. That's, whoops, did I pause him? I did. That's less than $40 a month, $399 for the entire year. This looks like they're talking about how they produce the show. I'm not sure what this is. I'll tell you, I love it. itpro.tv/WW. Use the offer code WW30 to get 30% off. We thank them so much for their support. of Windows Weekly. Did Microsoft talk about Windows at all?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
This is weirdly. I usually play Call of Duty when you're doing the ad.
Do you?
And
I knew it!
I write some stories while you're doing that.
Instead, everybody got up to have a wing.
Yeah.
And more beer.
Everyone
I
just
think.
got food except for us.
Yeah.
And I got a
we got
glass
to
now.
eat.
Really nice
You know-
glass. Look at me.
Oh, living it up.
Fancy.
So before we go to Windows, though, we talked a little bit about how people can get 8.1 early if they want it.
You've got an
And of course,
article on your site,
they'll-
by the way,
Yeah.
for that.
Do I?
Yeah.
And
Yes.
there's new phones coming, but as far as the
Right,
normal
the
update
official
process,
update, yeah. So that's going to have to go, of course, through carriers, because that's a dual. It's not just the OS; it's going to be corresponding firmware. Nokia has new firmware coming out called Cyan, Lumia Cyan, and so that's still being worked on actually by Nokia.
And
so,
is there any details about that? I saw that in print, but I hadn't.
yeah, it was sensor core. I think some camera to live imaging for the live pictures, what they call them, the living pictures.
Yep.
So there'll be a couple new features. But yeah, they didn't detail, I don't think, everything. There'll be also Dolby recording for the Lumia 930. So it'll be one of the first phones to record in Dolby Digital. So that'll be impressive. But all that will take a few months. So we're probably looking at June, July, August, where that will start to happen. It'll be dependent upon carriers. So people will be able to get 8.1 early, but really
not
to unlock all the features, there'll be a few more months before it happens.
So it's like carrier features and handset maker features.
Is there
Yeah,
any
yeah.
reason not to get the developer bits? Or are you
No.
gonna no?
It's
It's
one
been
of those,
so clean. Yeah,
it really has. No complaints, no bricking of phones, no issues.
Yet.
Right.
And you
But
could
so
do
far, so
that
good.
today?
No,
No.
sometime in April.
Okay, that's right. You mentioned that.
Yeah.
All right, good. So Windows is free. That's a big story.
Yeah.
I like it.
So that was the most confusing part
That
of the
was,
keynote,
actually.
and I went back and watched the video later to make sure that I got this correct. And I actually had the chance to. I said this to Terry Myerson. I said, you said exactly 2 sentences about a free version of Windows, and then you handed the mic to Stephen Elov.
Didn't you think anybody would want to elaborate?
I said that is the biggest Windows story of the year by far, and you spent 17 seconds on it.
What did he say?
He said, "Yep."
He
It's
said,
like
we
those
figured
sizes.
you'd carry the water
And I
for
said,
us,
"So,
Murat."
do you care to elaborate on that at all?" And he's like, "Nope."
Yeah.
So is any screen less than 9
9
9
inches
inches,
or
yeah.
less, and all Windows phones.
So what it isn't is for your Dell desktop
Right.
PC.
Right.
Right.
But it could be for your Dell 8-inch tablet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it literally.
It will be.
it is.
Venue
Yeah.
Pro.
Now the
Yeah.
question here, there are a lot of questions here actually. One is, I don't believe they mentioned the phrase Windows RT, for example, in the keynote.
No.
Now
Nope.
that doesn't mean Windows
They
RT
didn't
is
say it
going
at
away.
all?
I don't think so.
Wow.
That may or may not be important. It's Windows,
Yeah,
whatever.
right.
But Windows being all Windows on that screen size or smaller, free, which I think dramatically changes things. But I sort of wonder what this might mean. Does Windows
Yeah.
Phone scale up to almost 9 inches now? Does Windows RT
Yeah.
go away?
Right. We don't
I don't
know.
know.
Yeah.
They're not talking.
They won't say.
Yeah.
But I felt like it was kind of a precursor to the thing that we know is happening, which is Windows Phone and small tablet OSs are converging with Windows 9, right? So they're just kind of setting that up.
But I wonder, they talked about universal apps, for example, apps that you can create that, versions for both phone and
They did really talk about that underlying
yeah.
common runtime.
I mean, that's clearly
Yeah.
a big.
moving in that, direction.
Yeah, that was actually a really, really big thing that, like, during the developer sessions, they went into a lot more detail, like, specifically to store.
I feel like people don't understand how big this is, right?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
when Windows Runtime, WinRT, is now going to work on 8.1 devices, meaning Windows 8.1, and also Windows Phone 8.1 devices. But this is, in fact, a new version of the API. It's
Right.
not the old WinRT.
Right.
It's not the WinPRT that Windows Phone 8 came with. It's certainly not the Silverlight that Windows Phone 7, whatever, came with. So this is the third API change for Windows
Yeah.
Phone, which is crazy.
Yeah.
And the second API change for Windows 8, which is also kind of
I
crazy.
guess I figure if you don't have any developers, you can't really piss them off.
Well, I mean,
Oh, sorry.
could you turn off his mic, please?
Room of developers.
Yeah, you're done.
Have you ever seen a bag full of soap, Leo?
But like, it's gonna be really cool what developers can do with this stuff now. So basically, a developer can write a lot easier an app for Windows 8 and then port it to Windows Phone, keep most of the code. But more importantly, in the store, it's actually like developers now can write an app for both, but charge once.
Right.
And that's something we really heard about because people were really upset if you bought an app on Windows
Halo,
Phone.
the Halo game being
Right.
a key example there.
Yeah, and then you would go to Windows 8 and you're like, oh, but I paid for it, so I got paid for it twice. Now they can do just once. You can do in-app purchases that cross over.
How easy is it to do that? Is it just a question of screen size differences, or
It's gotten easier, I would say, with
Yeah.
this new release.
Windows Phone first, and Windows, the Metro stuff in Windows has always done a very good job of scaling to the screen size, the resolution,
so
the
you don't even
pixel
have to worry
density.
about that too much?
Right. I think that stuff is.
And the fact that it's ARM versus Intel, that's handled
It's
by
all
the
there.
compiler.
Yeah,
You
it's
don't
all
have to
there.
worry about
Yeah.
that.
Well, we already have
So
ARM,
a universal, making a universal version of the product is not so hard.
Well,
Or do you make
they're
a universal?
closer to it.
You're
Some of
making two different copies.
Yes,
Just charge
some
it
of it's
once.
semantics because it's a solution in Visual Studio where you have multiple outputs, and
But
that's
you do
true in
output
Windows
several.
today. I mean, even in Windows today, if you target just Windows,
Yeah.
you create 3 separate executables: one for x86, one for x64, one for ARM, and now you could add one for phone.
Right.
But I don't know. They seem to. Well, I guess it is really 2 separate apps. I think it really is. I think.
Yeah. No, I think there are 2 separate. It's getting closer, and then you also get the Xbox One stuff,
Right.
which is
Right.
coming.
Which they hinted, right?
Yeah. So that was like really interesting that
Yep.
all that's sort of opening up. Hopefully, I want a weather app on my Xbox.
Yeah.
Yeah.
about
Or just like a
CRM,
weather,
no?
a little, just something in the corner.
CRM, no.
Oh no, I don't know. CRM now. Come on.
I had written, I had gotten a leaked version of the SDK a few months back, and I had written an article where I basically said, universal apps are a lie, in the sense that you're really not creating an app that runs on every platform. You're creating separate apps that, and there's some crossover code and all that kind of stuff. And I think that's still kind of technically true, but I think the thing that has changed since then is as you look at what they're doing, there's way more universalness to it than I had thought originally.
Yeah.
That I guess that you can create solutions that have a common code base in the middle there, like a project of common code. But the amount of stuff that you can have in common now because they're all in the same API is more. It's a lot more. Yeah.
No, they refocus a lot of things. The store is now on Windows Phone similar to the Windows 8 store with the different categories and basically discoverability of popular titles that people will be interested in, and on things that you previously downloaded, it gives you recommendations. They're giving developers a lot more tools. They can actually respond now to people who have left reviews. Developers can respond back to those and create a dialogue with the customer. So they're doing a lot of changes. A lot of them are subtle that won't get the headlines, but I think long term it's good for the platform.
Now, this and the free version of Windows, obviously a common runtime, that's got to have been in progress for years.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
In
yeah.
fact, this has been on the roadmap for
Right,
years.
it
We've been
has,
talking
right?
about this
I
for
know.
years.
Every time we heard, the 3 screens in the cloud,
Yeah.
that was this, but
Right,
it just
right,
never was
right.
possible till now.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
But making Windows free on sub 9-inch screens, that could be done on the flip of a switch. That's
Yeah. Yeah.
that's a Satya Nadella move. That's the
That's
crown
fair.
jewels.
I think
He's
that's
giving
fair
away
because
the crown
I think the way
jewels.
I don't remember who told me this, but somebody said, and maybe this was in front of a bunch of people, but somebody said that Satya Nadella, unlike Steve Ballmer, is focused on the user,
Right.
whereas what he was focused on was the spreadsheet.
Yeah.
That if they came in every month with great revenues and great profits, that's what he cares about, and that's how we get there. And there's obviously room for that when you're leading a company. Where he is more focused, Satya Nadella is more focused on, let's just make sure we're pleasing everybody.
Yeah.
That's a much more modern way of approaching
It is.
the market.
Well, we'll see
frankly.
what their financials look like in
know.
12
Right,
months,
right.
but
You know what? Initially, it might not do as well,
Yeah.
but in the long run, I think, well, what do they gain by giving away Windows on sub 9-inch screens?
Right.
They make it parity with Android. Is that
Yes.
the
Yeah,
idea?
that's
Yeah.
the idea.
So it's free to install Android on your
Well, you
phone.
see what happens. And this is not the only reason, but in the past 2 months now, we've had 10 new companies sign up to sell, or maybe 12,
Yeah.
to sell Windows Phone devices.
Yeah, two
We
new
had-
ones were announced.
Yeah.
We had basically the same couple of companies, and then a few Chinese companies came on board over the years. But in the span of 2 months, more companies, twice as many companies, have signed up to sell Windows Phone devices than had ever done it over the period
And
of
that
3
gives
years.
them a margin of what, $5, $10, $30 more per phone?
Yeah.
How much are they paying for Windows?
We don't really know.
Yeah, we don't really know.
15, 20, somewhere there.
It's not insignificant.
But it's
No, it's
for
not,
that
yeah.
kind of low, high volume, low margin business.
That's a
the
big
difference
deal.
between I'm making money on this thing or
Right.
I'm losing a little bit.
They're doing a lot to basically break down barriers for OEMs to make any kind of Windows device, whether it's phones or tablets. That's one of the reasons why they got on the Windows Phone. They got rid of the button requirements,
Right.
basically so that they can recycle their Android hardware and just put
Yeah.
Windows Phone on it. So they made that. So they're doing a lot to really get their stuff out there without any complaints.
So what they're counting on too, though, is making it up in services, right? So
Yeah,
they're giving away Windows on
This
at
is
the
the
low
Google
end.
strategy.
Right? And so then they're going to sell you more Office 365 and more OneDrive storage and all that.
Right. That makes perfect sense.
It does. Yeah.
I
Especially
warned
if
them,
you
though,
were a
I-
laggard in those categories.
Right.
The only way to even chance
Yep.
to catch up is to be competitive
Right.
on
I-
price.
I-
How about on the tablets? That's an interesting one because I can see phones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Well,
given
but it's the same thing, right?
You're giving
Android
up a
is
lot, though. I mean,
what
that's
they're
got to be a
competing against
significant
is
source
Android.
of, yeah.
Right.
And Android, the reason we see a $99 Android tablet
Right.
in CVS as you're checking out is because
Right.
Free.
Android costs nothing,
Right.
essentially.
So,
Except
what do you
patents.
think Dell was
Yeah.
paying? What do you think Dell was paying for the 8?
Right.
inch
We
tablet?
don't really know.
I bet it was in the $30 range.
Yeah, probably.
You really? I thought maybe a little less.
I think 45 or so for full Windows and
Really?
30 for
Wow.
yeah, because there you know
Oh, yeah, you
Office
could buy
is in there
full Windows
too.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
It does. Do you think this has been telegraphed, and that's why so many companies are doing 8-inch
Well,
tablets?
do you think there are people at Nokia doing the math now and saying, so hold on a second. So if we hadn't been paying for Windows for the past 3 years, would we still be in business?
Right.
I mean,
Right.
this,
Yeah.
I'm not saying that would have made the difference exactly,
Yeah.
but there's got to be some consternation
Yeah.
there.
We didn't mention that right before build, there was some executive shakeups. Nothing unusual. We knew that
Yeah.
ELOP would get moved to devices, right?
Right.
What else happened?
Scott Guthrie, Mr. Redshirt, is now the head of Enterprise and Cloud.
You called it, though.
I
You
called
said
it.
That was
I
gonna
called
happen. Yep. And then
Yep.
what else?
And
More Shoof.
Keep talking, Leah.
Phil Spencer takes over Mark Whitten's job.
Is that a surprise?
Not really.
No.
No. And
But
Terry
this is-
Myerson gets a little more of the Xbox, right?
Not a little more. You got the rest of it,
Yeah.
except for the hardware.
Yeah.
He basically.
So he was just Xbox.
But I mean that tells no, he was just Windows.
Just
It's Core
Windows,
OS. The OS.
Oh, he
group.
was Core OS.
But he was
okay.
also Xbox OS.
Yeah, the
and
core,
Xbox
but
Live,
only the
right.
Core OS.
Okay.
Right. So he got all of the
Yep.
Xbox software. So
Yep.
it's very interesting to me. Well, it's not interesting. We know now
Yeah.
because of what just happened.
Yeah.
You know, you move Xbox software into the Windows group, and then they announce, "Hey, we're doing Universal Apps, and Xbox is going to be part of it." Of course.
Well,
you know,
so now
Right.
one
Yep.
guy, one man to rule them all.
yeah,
Exactly.
and this time he's a good guy. You know.
So okay, good. This is, but again, this is Nadella putting his stamp on the
Yep.
company, not unexpectedly.
No.
Right, right, and you know it's funny how this cascades down because you see the right people in charge of the right parts of Microsoft, and I don't mean to say for a change. I mean in some cases, obviously, some of the people they had, many of the people they had in positions of power were fantastic, but we had a couple of problems over the past couple of years, and it seems like those have been nicely eradicated. And then what do you call it? A pogrom?
They'll all be getting chicken farms in Luma now.
But you know what else was cool, and you really felt this at Build was engineers are back running the company again.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it was not just Scott Goo, but Nadella too. He's an engineer, and it's just Terry Myerson, engineer.
Joe
right?
Belfiore.
Joe Belfiore. So it felt to developers, I think, like, wow, we're one of them, they're one of us, instead of it's the suits and us.
Right.
Right.
Right. Right.
And a customer focus that's new.
Yep, that's good.
Which is so stupid. I mean it's like
they've been
we have
focused.
we have a company
figured it out.
and our new thing is we're going to listen to customers.
No,
Yeah.
I think they've been focused on customers,
Yeah.
but not. But you know, the bottom line was like, is this making us money or not? And it doesn't matter really. Other than
Well,
that.
everything is a problem. It's always Apple's fault, and I mean this in a good way. I mean, Apple.
This one is Apple's fault.
Well, they've been very successful
That's what I
at their
said.
model,
Yeah.
and then everybody
Apple's
sees
fault.
that and wants
They
them
wanna
to
be
emulate
that.
that. And so this,
not
there's
just
this-
Apple, Amazon. Look
yeah,
at Amazon.
Yeah, that's true. Yep.
I think it is modern. It's the new wave of companies who say,
Yeah.
you know, we're not going to sacrifice customer experience for bottom line.
Well, and to
Bottom
get
line will
Microsoft-
get there if we focus on customer experience.
Yeah.
Give them a little credit. You know, this is a company that could have been very successful for a very long time doing the kind of Ballmer spreadsheet thing.
Yep.
And they would have become the next IBM,
IBM, right,
very
yeah.
easily, and they would have been very successful. And we wouldn't be sitting here talking about them because that is terribly boring.
Well,
I
it's
would
like
have
I mean,
been. I would have been here talking about it.
the enterprise.
I'd be playing Xbox.
Well, Xbox, but should Microsoft sell off the Xbox thing? Because
Yeah.
a lot of people, you're.
I am,
in that.
yeah. I am
You're in
that kind of
favor?
guy.
See,
Xbox sell off?
I don't think it's core to what they're doing.
Maybe
really,
not.
but it's like so key
so-
to their consumer stuff.
Really?
Well, they're in 80
I
million
mean,
living
it's-
room. 80 million
Yeah,
living rooms.
yeah,
I
hear you.
that's the only
The
successful.
problem is they're in the living room with a $500 box that competes with $99 boxes. You know,
Yeah.
they need a $99 box, and the Xbox UI on a $99 box would be hands down.
Is it doable?
I guess we're gonna find out.
Did you hear everybody get an Xbox?
Everybody got an X. Did you all get an Xbox? Son of a gun. A 360 or a?
Yeah, it was the old white.
The white one. Yeah.
It says like refurbished. This will be fine for 17 or 18.
That's actually a great.
That was a
that's
great
a great
giveaway.
gift.
Yeah.
That's a good giveaway.
Yep.
Yeah.
Although
What
we have
I
to.
needed was a third Xbox One.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, they actually gave them to press, who could take them too.
Yeah.
So everybody said,
Wow.
"Mary Jo, do you have an Xbox now?" No,
I gave mine to
couldn't
a
take
homeless
it.
guy in the corner of Mission and 4th.
I saw you do that.
I was walking around the streets last night about 2 a.m. with one. A little
You were?
tipsy. Yeah, I was surprised I still have it. Like,
The homeless guy said, "I
He
hear it's
slept under
always
it.
on.
yeah.
The camera's watching me. I think I can keep it."
Well, I wonder, did they plan to really give out the Xbox One, or was that a last minute thing?
Did they plan on doing
The
it?
giveaales were going to be very different. And
Yeah.
They were.
What?
Actually,
They were?
We can talk about that now. Yeah,
Where are
because
they going to be?
well,
This Lumia 630?
yeah, right, and right.
In the 930 too,
That's
I
right.
heard.
Yeah.
You know?
Really?
Yeah.
But they
Yeah,
weren't.
they weren't ready.
So
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I think the way to say it is they wanted to wait for the release of the final version of that software before people wrote reviews and things. And what they didn't
Right,
want
right.
was a bunch of knee-jerk
Right.
That's fair.
day one,
Right.
So you'll
tweets
get it
and
in the mail later,
what?
and they'll want the Xbox back.
Well,
Yeah,
they
yeah.
did give that $500
Yeah,
gift certificate.
$500 gift card
Oh,
in
well.
addition to the Xbox.
so you can buy it.
And I think that
when
was
it
the
comes out.
payoff. It was
That
like,
was,
look,
right.
keep your phones. We'll.
Yep.
Although it felt kind of funny. It felt like in Christmas time when you forgot to get someone that gift. And you're like, oh, gift
Yeah,
card.
here's
There
some
you go.
socks
Yeah,
with
yeah.
a gift card in it.
I've never seen a $500 gift card at the
Yeah.
Microsoft Store. Why? It's usually 15 or 25.
I want to explore this sell Xbox. That's kind of an interesting idea.
Yeah.
I'll check eBay because there's going to be a bunch of them on there today.
It isn't core to their business.
Oh, I'm sorry, you meant.
It's not an individual Xbox for the entire division.
They're not going to, it's like a buy it now price for the Xbox
Yeah,
division.
buy
It's
it
like
now.
$4.9 billion.
Yeah, it's yours. Take it home today.
I misunderstood.
Yeah.
No, but when you say you think they're going to sell it, you mean spin it off into a separate company. You
Yes,
don't mean
of
sell
which-
it to Sony.
Oh, no.
No.
Of which they would still own, 51%
right.
or something. Of course. Yeah.
Ah, interesting.
But yeah, I guess it's weird though because isn't like so much of the Xbox One's Core OS tied to Microsoft?
Isn't most of the Core OS that goes into Nokia Lumia? Oh, wait, they do own that Nokia.
no, but that's they
Yeah.
could become an OEM
Yeah.
for Microsoft operating.
Dell sells PCs. I mean, they don't,
Yeah.
I mean, there's a model there.
I haven't heard anybody like Nadella
No.
telegraphing they're going to sell Xbox.
Yeah.
Only Elop did that.
Right.
Only Elop did
Right.
that.
Well,
And he's not the CEO.
Yeah.
And of course, the big story: Microsoft buys Xamarin. No,
No.
That didn't happen.
Didn't happen.
But yeah, we've heard mixed things on that.
Yeah.
They were holding hands backstage.
They
I
were.
saw it.
Yeah.
we had some Xamarin developers here the other day, and they said, "What?
They here?
Oh yeah."
Yay.
And they said, "Well, we're not sure we like that idea so much.
Right.
We'd like to keep
Sure.
an independent Xamarin."
We had Miguel at the Blogger Bash last night.
What did he say?
He was very coy.
Oh, we tried to get him to say something. Paul held him down. I poured beer into
He's
him.
not saying anything. It means it's still in
Well,
play,
okay,
right?
but that's also what happened last year. And
Oh.
laugh.
yeah, he wouldn't say anything.
No, he would not say. But I said to him, would you want to work for a big company like Microsoft? And he said, I used to work for Novell.
Right.
Like,
Right.
yeah.
Oh wow.
And he did
That
for
was
like
your point, exactly.
7
yeah.
years or so.
Yeah. Yeah. But I don't know. I just can't see it. I can't.
I could see it.
You can?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, obviously, some people would be unhappy with that.
Yeah.
and
Sure.
Wouldn't
I
stick
mean, it
with
would be great for Microsoft to buy them.
See, the reason they might do it is if you want to do cross-platform dev through Visual Studio, which is not how Xamarin works today, right? Is that right? You can do it. But you don't have to. Okay, so, I mean, that's what you would want. So we're talking about universal apps. I mean, you want to have solutions where you can target iOS or Android,
Yep.
and share code, obviously.
But they did make a very, very interesting announcement with Xamarin. Did you hear about the .NET Foundation, Leo?
No, what's that?
So Microsoft and Xamarin are creating this foundation where a lot of pieces of .NET are being open sourced.
Yeah.
Not kidding.
Wow.
.NET
Well,
is
so
being open source.
it was weird how they announced this because the first announcement was about Roslyn.
It was.
Which is a .NET
Compiler as a service, yeah.
Right, a cloud-based compiler. So they open sourced that,
Right.
and I thought, well, this is a cloud project that makes some sense, and it's just kind of a limited type of deal. Who would want to use this, And then they said, well, and actually now we're going to open source the rest of .NET.
Yeah.
I was
Not-
like,
not
huh?
all of .NET,
Not all
though.
of it, but a lot of
Right.
it. I mean, big chunks of it.
Right.
Yeah.
So that was pretty interesting. And I talked to Miguel a little bit about that, and I said, wow, you must be excited about that. And he's like, we can't believe they did it.
Yeah.
And he's like, we've been wanting this for so long.
Right.
Well, and hasn't Xamarin been putting stuff in the open source as well? Some .NET code of its
Yeah.
own.
Oh, yeah.
Their
So it's
stuff's
coming
all
from
over
both sides.
Right,
now.
right. And they also
Is there
said,
overlap?
No, because Xamarin's putting its own stuff in, and Microsoft put in like things like, well, they've already put in things like ASP.NET.
No, right. This is it's not.
More proprietary stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some more proprietary stuff. And also documentation is going in there too. So, Xamarin really wanted some of the documentation around base class libraries to be given to them. And Microsoft actually yesterday at 4 o'clock said, here you go. So that's a really big deal.
Yeah.
And it's another one of these things, just like give away the hardware for free. Okay, now they're open sourcing .NET, the crown jewel.
Imagine how different .NET as a platform might have gone a decade ago.
I know.
More than a
If it
decade
was
ago.
open source.
If they had open sourced it.
Although, you know what? When they announced it yesterday, I was waiting to see if the audience was going to be happy or not.
Or grown, right?
Right, because in the past, it felt like anything Microsoft open source was like, oh, we don't really care
This
about this.
audience wants their stuff as broadly out there as possible.
Now it's
and,
different.
yeah.
It feels really different. And it's not like when they kind of turned Iron Python over to the community. It doesn't feel like that.
It's only a matter of time before a Microsoft CEO gets up on stage and says, for us to win, Apple doesn't have to lose.
Wow.
It is kind of that.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's almost that
Yeah.
point,
They did kind of the other shoe dropped on touch first versions of Office, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
Talk a little bit about the Windows side
Yeah.
They even demoed a little bit of
Yep.
it.
PowerPoint.
Yeah.
in the keynote.
Yep. Gemini, the things we've been calling Gemini, they showed the PowerPoint app again, which is the touch first, totally redone version of Word, Excel, PowerPoint that they're going to be coming out with. But still no date.
No.
Still no beta.
And then
No
show
beta.
Word. I want to see what Word was going to be.
Well, I guess it was you who said they always leave a PowerPoint?
Yeah, they always show Powerpoint.
Yeah.
Why?
Because it's so colorful and
It
it's
is.
pretty.
Like
The
you're going to show
animations
Excel.
were
I
pretty
Like,
mean,
here's a bunch of text. Look, it scrolls.
Yeah, it's hard. to get excited about that. You're right.
Yeah.
But, I thought they might at least say, and you're going to get a beta here
Yep.
or
Right.
in a month or whenever. But nothing.
It's clearly further along.
It is. It's further along.
And-
And they said they're going to build this for Android also. There's going to
Yeah.
be
Oh,
a
yeah.
touch-first
Yep,
version
yep,
of Word, Excel, and PowerPoint for
And
Android.
this,
there
it's a
is
universal app, so this will
Something
run on
did
phone.
come out for Android. It was like a
The
single
phones.
app.
No,
The
just for the
phones.
phone.
Just for the phone, not for
Yep.
tablets.
So in other
Right.
words, the Office you see for iPad will probably be the Android version.
Right.
It'll probably be the same thing.
Very similar, yeah.
Which is actually really nice. I
Yeah,
like
it's
it.
beautiful.
Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's-
But if you do a side-by-side comparison of what they showed here with the iPad version, what you see is that the Windows version has more ribbons and it has
more
more
Windowsy.
commands.
yeah.
There's more there. It's more.
Right. More features.
Yeah.
Right.
So more is always better, as you know. And so
But not too
clearly,
much.
Any before we wrap up
Yeah.
the rundown, what else?
So we didn't talk about the biggest and strangest announcement, which was Windows for the Internet of Things,
Right.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Which was so
yeah.
ill-defined. It actually goes
nobody
back to
knows.
my
That's
Windows
not the
RT
same as
question.
embedded Windows.
That's what we were
Nobody
wondering.
knows.
Yeah, it's like a next generation of it.
The only thing we learned about it is that it will be free.
Yeah.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
the screens are smaller than 9 inches.
It will work. The pictograph they had showed a watch, a gas pump.
Yeah.
Like
All the
a
things
kiosk.
they use embedded for now.
Yeah, I mean,
People made a big deal about the fact that they were showing a picture of a watch, though.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Like, oh, they got a watch.
Well, remember, some people thought at the Nokia event there they were going to
Right,
announce
yeah.
a watch, and they didn't.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah, that was
right.
going to happen. Yeah, but
No,
wearables.
the only thing new that they're going to sell is themselves.
yeah,
I think
Yeah.
they're-
Yeah.
yeah.
wearables are coming, right?
They are.
Yeah, this
Right.
this fall I think is when
Microsoft's got to be careful because they were in this market a lot.
right the spot.
And it was a bomb.
Right.
And
Sure. I wonder if there's anyone left that worked on that stuff,
Oh,
Well,
right.
the .NET Micro Framework guys, right?
Yeah.
Who and that was another piece
Well,
they
I mean,
open source.
those
this
kind of
week,
guys
so.
that they carted out to talk about the watch, those kind of trendy guys like, that
Oh, yeah.
would deal with like,
Right.
Swatch and,
Right,
those big
I think
Fossil
Joe
and
could
those
do
companies.
that, too.
Joe could do it.
He's that kind of
Well,
guy.
the guy supposedly spearheading the wearables is Alex Kipman, who did Connect.
Oh, okay. Ooh,
so-
that could be interesting.
Interesting. Okay. So he's used to kind of alternative
Yes,
computing
reality.
type things. Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else? I feel like are we missing anything?
Well, we didn't talk about Windows.
They didn't mention.
right.
Well,
we
what they
didn't
did,
talk about Windows
free.
Future.
and they
Well-
didn't mention Surface.
Oh,
They, did
yes.
they
They
talked
didn't
about
mention
update 1. They
Surface.
did show update 1.
They gave us
They call it
update
update.
one.
Yeah,
Yeah, they called it
We
update.
should
Just
mention
update.
it's just update. And
Right.
I talked to them about that. I said, I have places where you've called this spring update.
in
update
1914, they didn't call it World War I
one. Right.
because they didn't know there'd be another
This
one.
time they know this.
This time they know. Okay.
And there's also a precedence here because these are the updates used to be called General Distribution Release
Right.
1, 2, 3, etc. They decided this name was not friendly, so they call them Update 1, Update 2, Update 3, or like Windows
Right.
Phone.
Yeah.
Now it's just update.
No, it literally is Update 1.
Oh, it is?
It's yes, but they don't call it that publicly because they want to set expectations in the sense that they don't want to promise when you say
Update
one,
2.
It means there's a 2 and a 3.
but see,
And in the real world, we as geeks love the idea of an update. In the real world, an update may not be perceived as a positive. It might be an admission that something's broken.
Right.
also, when you just say update, so this is it for Windows 8.1 then.
Yeah.
That's what that sounds like to me.
Maybe not.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Right.
It's vague.
I think they don't want to say, hey, there's so much wrong with Windows 8.1. We're going to be doing many updates. Here's the first.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, they
Don't you
should say
think?
that because that's
Kind
actually
of.
what's happening.
Yeah.
But no,
So-
actually, Windows 8.1 is pretty good.
Windows 8.1 is
it's
great.
in good
I
shape,
love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
And with update, it's
Yeah.
yeah.
I even wrote an article this week saying if this had been what Windows 8 was when
You
it
would've
came out,
liked it.
I would have actually not been afraid to put it on my PC.
And it's Mary Jo and I only talk about Windows, as you might imagine. And on the drive up here,
All we talked about was Windows.
it's sad actually, but we
Really? That's terrible.
no.
No, we talked about sushi.
But for whatever reason we were
that a new
talking
code
about
name?
this
Did you like
thing.
Heroes?
Yeah.
Windows?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
Windows
good.
update sushi.
What'd you have?
I had sashimi.
Are you getting off
Yeah,
track?
they have good stuff.
No, but we were talking about this and this kind of notion about it's just how different this
I
is
know.
now and how
So
this
different.
can change. That they're trying not to set too many expectations, but the truth is there are going to be more updates.
Yeah.
And
Of course.
even on stage, in another 2-sentence parsing that we have to go through, he said that he being Terry Myerson said that Microsoft would deliver the floating windows.
Right.
Floating modern, app windows,
Yeah, new
and also
start.
the new start menu
Yeah.
in a coming update to Windows 8.1.
Which I got the feeling they did that the night before. They just like drew it out.
well, no, I asked Joe Belfiore, I asked Terry Myerson, I asked Frank Shaw the same question. They all said the same thing, which was that was deliberately vague, right? And they're like, yep, and that was the point. And
Right.
it was
But it is part of Update 1.
No.
no,
Those
It's not.
things
this
are
is
not.
something. This is
Right.
something coming later.
And so what? but so what's
what's
interesting?
Am I misunderstanding? I thought it was going to be part of Update 1.
No,
It wasn't.
I had actually written about this
I
last year.
misunderstood.
That coming, it was Threshold. Threshold being the
Threshold
the
we
wave app.
think is Windows 9,
Yeah.
right?
Well,
Which
we
is
think it's going to be
we
called
think is
Windows 9.
spring 2015.
Yeah, April
Oh,
2014.
right,
Yep,
Right.
Yep.
But then the way they worded this week, we're kind of wondering, is it maybe going to show up earlier? Like things like the start menu
Yeah.
shows up in an update
Well,
2.
yeah, so in-
Well, didn't they say it would come to all Windows 8.1 users? Did they not say that?
yeah,
Yeah,
Windows
that's
8.
the point. An update to
Yeah.
Windows 8.1.
Yep.
So, and
that
by the
could
way,
be
Windows 9 would be an update to Windows 8.1.
Yeah, that would be 2.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
all
yeah.
right.
So they hedged it, so we don't know.
I don't know if they just don't know. Like,
Well, no,
That's
of
what
course.
somebody
they-
said to me.
I think
They-
that's fair.
they don't
They don't know.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or they know, and or they kind
Well,
of
no,
know,
I
but they
mean,
don't want to commit.
Yeah.
even the naming stuff like GDRs, right,
Yeah.
for the Windows Phone, and then became at some point GDR2 became Update 2, and then
Yeah.
Update 3.
Right.
And so there's
It's a semantics thing,
Yeah.
but it's also a delivery time thing. One of the last actually, the beginning of the end for Sinofsky, it wasn't necessarily Windows 8 and what it was. It was his declaration that 3 years is a good time frame for a new version of Windows.
Right.
Right.
With Windows 8.1, they showed us kind of what they could deliver in 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
With Update 1, they showed us what they can deliver in 4 months. And I joked with a number of people about this. So are you going to have another build conference next week so we can do Update 2? What is this like an exponentially faster thing every time? But Terry Myerson said, no, we like this schedule. We
Yeah.
want to be fast.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I think what they might do, I think they don't know, like you said,
Yeah.
but what they might want to do is deliver that stuff as quickly as they can. Not tie it to a big bang release,
Right.
but maybe update it whenever they can.
Right.
And maybe that comes in the fall. Maybe,
Yeah.
and I'm just speculating, but maybe there's an update 2 that comes out that has the floating windows only.
Yep.
And an update 3 that has the start menu or vice versa
Yeah.
or whatever. I mean, maybe if there's a way to shoehorn that in,
Why not?
right, why not do it?
Yeah.
There's certainly a lot more dynamic, and especially listening to criticism now.
Right.
Like the Update 1 stuff, I think is real interesting, the
Yeah.
way they're blending the more desktop
too.
controls. When I use it on desktop with the mouse, I actually like the little minimize
I
and X.
love it.
Yeah.
It's so great. It's like you can shut an app like you're supposed to.
Yeah, it's a good bridge. I mean, they basically went too far with Windows 8,
Yeah, they
and
did.
they're ahead of their time. And
Yeah.
so now they're backtracking, and it looks bad publicly,
Right.
but from a user perspective, it feels more comforting. So
does.
I think it'll be a good thing.
Yep.
There is that weirdness in Update 1 where you can launch, mobile apps from the taskbar on the desktop.
Right.
They launch full screen.
Right.
Yeah.
So they give you that title bar, like you were saying, with
Yeah,
the
yeah.
controls, and you can see the start menu, the taskbar in there if you want to. But the next step is obviously let's get it in a window, and I think it was smart of them to reveal that they are doing that
too.
because this gives people hope,
Right.
and it prevents them from waiting. I'm not going to buy Windows or upgrade until they get it right.
Exactly.
But now they know this is coming as an
Right.
update.
And this is all for business users, right? Like,
Yeah.
This is meant to make Windows usable by the enterprise. That's their bread and butter market,
Yeah.
right? And so many enterprise users looked at Windows 8 and were like, "Whoa, no!" And now they're like, "Hey, you got a close button now.
Yeah.
Hey, you got a taskbar. It's awesome."
I mean, people really do like, I think, the modern apps, but they want that for
Right.
different tasks. Like when I'm at work and doing work stuff, I want to be in desktop, but
Yep.
I don't want to jump between the start menu things.
I know.
And,
Yeah.
so,
Running them in a Windows neat. I mean, if you, even
Yeah.
as something as simple as I want some background music and playing in Xbox Music,
right.
even in the current release, you can control the playback from that little pop-up that comes over the icon on the taskbar. It's nice.
Yeah. And the thing they showed that was the start menu, we should say, it's a proof of concept. That doesn't
Sure.
mean that's the way the start menu is going to look.
Right.
But that is their plan. It is what
It's
they
their kind
plan
of
currently.
plan, but it doesn't mean it's going to be exactly like that.
Yeah.
Look
Yeah,
like
I
a
don't know
madman.
what's going on with your hands there. Yeah, I just did a.
I will crush you.
I did a. Somebody did point out, who was watching at home, that your shoulders are so much broader than mine.
Yeah.
And they said maybe you should fix the cameras, but no.
I am in
that's-
general more masculine than
You
you.
are. You are in general.
Yeah.
And something horrible's happened to Mary Jo. I think a part of you was eaten
Chunks
alive.
of me is missing.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez, look at that.
Maybe
know,
I
that's
should.
weird,
I should
right?
She's
probably
like a
redo
floating
it.
head.
That's one of them.
Yeah.
One of them panorama
Exactly.
things.
Clearly not done with a Lumia.
No, obviously. That's a
Would have been
typical
so much better.
typical Android flaw. I will share this so you can share it and do your own photoshopping of it.
Yeah, just share it on Google Plus so I'll see it.
Yeah.
Just for you, I'm going to do this.
Of course you are.
I will not. Screw you.
Don't tell Paul. Do you even have a Google
I
Plus
do,
account?
yeah.
I do not.
You do not.
I do, but I
You have to draw a line somewhere and
I
take
just
Everyone's-
get notifications.
Yeah,
but I
every
don't
once in a
ever-
while I go in there by mistake and it's like, you have 1,477.
It's worse than I don't know if it's worse than Facebook, but it's kind of up there. I'm not into
worse.
either. Twitter, Instagram, that's all I
Yeah.
need.
Yeah.
All right, I'm posting it right now. So let us take a break. When we come back, we'll talk more. And I know we have some people from Lithuania that you wish to see.
Yes, we do.
All right. And has Tom Warren arrived?
No, he can't make it.
They're blowing us off.
He cannot make it.
Let's talk about Tom then.
Can't make it.
So,
Oh yeah, I've heard that story.
Nah, he gets
no, it is
caught
kind
up.
of a tough drive up
Yeah,
there.
it is. It is.
Was it? Was it difficult?
No,
Well, I mean for Tom.
You ought to see it going home.
He's British.
he drives on the wrong side.
He drives on the left.
He drives
That's
on the
not
wrong
going to
side.
work very well as
No,
he
that doesn't
comes
work
up
so
the Highway 101. But good news here, Paul. It's an Audible ad.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. audible.com/Windows. If you want to get a free book from audible.com, our favorite place to go for audio books, but not just books. I mean, you can get the daily version of the New York Times or the Wall Street Journal. You get lectures, plays, concerts. Audible's fabulous. Both Paul and I are longtime Audible listeners. I just finally started listening to the Fred Vogelstein book about what Dogfight.
Yeah.
That
That's a good one.
is
That's a good one.
Already, I'm having terrible reader, I have to say, and it's
Oh, I didn't. Okay. I think I've read that one.
every once
That's a
in a
good book,
while you get the narrator. It's not an Audible narrator. The publisher probably did the narration.
Did you listen to that the recent one about Apple? I assume this is
Leander
not
Connie's book on
Yeah.
Johnny Ive, or
No. The one Apple since the death of. Steve
Oh,
Jobs.
you know what? I've avoided that.
You shouldn't. Actually, it's a very good book.
Oh, that's
I know-
interesting. Now, see, I saw you tweet about that because everybody on the MacBreak Weekly team said
Right.
that is a piece of
No,
crap.
it's not. And here I can tell you why. Actually, very simply.
Okay.
Obviously, Apple people tend to sort of circle the wagons when people criticize Apple.
Yeah, I'm not one of those
It's-
people, and I don't think anybody on MacBreak
no,
Weekly is.
I understand, but it's not critical of Apple. I think it's just sort of an analysis of how hard it would have been, even if Steve Jobs had lived, to come out with that next kind of big bang thing. And that I think the big complaint I've seen about it is, she says that Apple hasn't really innovated in several years. And look at all the money they've made. And the money they've made has nothing to do with innovation.
That is not the complaint that people like
okay.
Andy Ihnatko and Jason Snell
I think you
had.
should. I think
they
you should
felt
read
it was a series of anecdotes stitched together, many of them incorrect or provably wrong,
Oh, I don't
and
know.
that the conclusion was a little forced. It was as if Yukari Iwatani Kane, who wrote for the Journal,
But the
was
Journal
was
does
told her
not have
publisher, "I'm going to write a book about how Jobs' ghost haunts Apple, and Apple, as a result, is struggling." And then was compelled to stitch together a bunch of anecdotes that really didn't fit.
See, I didn't get.
You didn't
honestly,
get that.
I
Well,
thought,
you know what? All right, you got it. I'm gonna read it.
I would. All I have to say is, over the course of recommending a bunch of Audible books over the years, I always look for good industry books.
Me too.
And I think
we're all looking for the soul of a new machine or.
And I'm not. By the way, I'm not saying this
Showstopper.
This is not the new Showstoppers. But look, this is inherently interesting. It's an interesting topic, and it's the type of thing where you shouldn't just ignore it because, people disagree with it. I actually think this is an important book. So.
And I wouldn't ignore Dogfight just because Microsoft's not in it.
Yeah, no, that's a good book. I'm sure I recommended that.
And you did, and we also recommended the Jeff Bezos book, The Everything Store. Brad Stone did a very good job. I thought
skipped
with that.
all the non.
And by the way,
stuff on that one.
that's a book that the Amazon folks hated.
Well,
in
of
fact,
course,
Jeff Bezos' wife
exist in
reviewed it on Amazon and said this is the worst book ever.
I think that one's just worth skipping through for the ebook stuff, for the Kindle stuff.
Yeah, I thought this is great, and some of you may have read the excerpt where he talks about the first demo of the iPhone and what a nail biter it was for the engineers. They were drinking in between shots. Anyway,
because they knew when it would crash, and it was supposed to crash. And
there was the chances of him getting through that demo
were nil.
And
he did it.
And he did it. But it's really a dramatic book. And while I haven't got to the end, Fred in his introduction says, by the end of this book, you'll see who I think is going to win this war. And I don't know. I really don't.
Well, allow me to ruin it for you, Leo.
No, stop. Dogfight, How Apple and Google Went to War and Started a Revolution. Or Haunted Empires, that's the book about Apple post Steve Jobs.
I'm not surprised at the backlash to that book. But I all I would say is I feel like a lot of the people that have complained about it that I've seen on Twitter haven't even read it. They just said this thing.
Well, I've put it in my basket. I will read it.
I thought it was a good book.
She did 200 interviews with current and former Apple executives.
It's not light on research.
Yeah. The point being, and this is the conversation that we just had, happens every time you run into somebody else who's an Audible subscriber.
Yeah.
The best fun ever. If you have stopped reading because who has time anymore, Audible's going to bring you back to books. You can listen in the car as you're commuting. You can listen at the gym while you're doing housework, walking the dog.
I tried to listen to one on the way up here, and Mary Jo kept talking and talking.
She just, I'm listening here.
Windows this, Hadoop that.
I'm listening.
Phone calls.
And I listened actually as I was going to bed last night. It's like having your mommy read to you. Only
That's my problem. I end up falling asleep.
Well, with a book, I really do, and I could get a little farther. But when you're driving, you usually don't fall asleep.
That's true.
And that's one of the advantages of listening as you drive in the car.
Gotta stop working from home.
If you
better than reading a real book and like dropping.
Those of us who have no commute, it's not so good.
I know.
And I'm sitting with 3 people who actually walk to work across the house.
Sometimes stumble. Yeah.
Mary Jo doesn't even have to go that far.
I don't. I walk about.
Oh yeah, you're in New York. Right.
Audible.com/Windows will get you to the gold account. That's the 1 book a month account. Subscriptions are a good way to do this. You can buy them a la carte, but subscribe. The good thing about this, you can try it out. You're going to get that first month free, your first book free. You also get the daily edition of either the Wall Street Journal or the New York Times for free. You cancel in the first 30 days, you'll pay nothing. Those books are yours to keep. But if you do stick around, I think a world of wonderful literature, nonfiction, history, classics awaits. 150,000 titles strong and growing all the time. Audible.com/Windows. We're big fans. And since you're listening to a podcast, I think you probably will be too. We're having strategy meetings for the new website. This is it's actually an interesting process to go through. You probably neither of you had to worry about that. I don't know, maybe.
Oh no, I
have.
I have.
Really?
We do. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we've got a really good team. We've got a great company, and we're doing stuff that is really deep dive into who listens, what they're looking for when they get to the website. It's really been a lot of.
It's a lot more complicated. Yeah.
But at one point during it, one of our staffers, who shall remain nameless, said, "So why do we advertise for Audible? Aren't they a competitor?" And I said, "Because we love them." And, I feel like, hey, what the hell? If you like Audible better than our podcast.
We're not doing a Swiffer ad.
No, that's for sure. Although if Swiffer came to me,
I would be all over that.
All right. Do you like the wet
I want
or
to
the
see
dry?
Paul do that. Little maid outfit.
It does Windows. That's all I'm saying.
There you go.
Oh,
there it is. You may get a call now from Swiffer.
Oh, I like it. Windows Weekly brought to you by Swiffer. It does.
Paul's on next week with the show.
Right. Anything else? I don't want to leave Build
like a
behind. Is there
NASCAR,
anything else to say about Build? How about the enterprise outlook at Build?
We should just finish up Windows real quick because the schedule for Windows
Right.
update.
Right.
Oh yeah, you didn't mention that.
MSDN and TechNet subscribers can get it now.
Yep.
Everyone else can get it on
April 8th.
Not this coming
Patch
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Yeah.
This coming Tuesday.
Yep.
Patch Tuesday.
Unless you
And
already have it from
Right.
a few weeks ago.
Apparently, it leaked. I was told.
Did they talk at all about the end of life of Windows XP, which is also this coming patch
No,
Tuesday?
they have
at the
never
show.
mentioned it.
They didn't say a word.
No.
It's the operating system that shall not be named.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
It is, after all, kind of among normal people a big conversation.
Well, put it another way, it's not a conversation, which is the problem, because a lot of normal people still have Windows.
Still
XP.
using it.
Yeah. True.
Yep.
We've covered
This
this
really
a lot.
didn't come up, did it? It's funny they never
No.
mentioned it.
Well, it's a negative. There's no way. It's a no-win.
It's a developer conference too, and obviously
right.
they're not.
Nobody's developing for XP anymore. Is that true?
I would hope so.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I think you said there's like no new x86 apps that are interesting in the last 10 years.
Actually, that's a very interesting point.
they're just
Well, it's absolutely true, right?
It's not that they're not developing for XP. People aren't developing for desktop.
Of the
Right.
top 10 desktop applications that have been installed in Windows 8, the top 2 are Chrome and iTunes,
Yep.
both of which are platforms that get you to move away from Windows.
Right.
You know,
Wow.
I mean, think about that, right? And,
Yeah.
and then the rest of them are start menu replacements.
Are they going to do extensions
And-
ever for IE and like a full
in
extension?
Metro?
Yeah,
No.
because just as I still use Chrome. Like I need all those extensions for
No.
Reddit and stuff.
I don't think so. I forgot,
Josh
Leo,
nuts.
somebody gave me this for you. They're Windows XP balloons.
Whoa.
And they said maybe Leo could blow these up and pop them on air.
On the radio show on
Exactly.
next Tuesday.
Look at his
We'll-
Intel inside.
Intel
says Intel
inside. Yeah,
inside.
here's some classic ones.
Where did they get these?
I don't know. I
Someone's
forget-
attic.
Somebody gave it to me at the Build Blogger Bash, and
That's
they sent
incredible.
the Windows XP logo. Uh-oh.
Oh, wait a minute. My grandpa died blowing these up. No.
The show goes on, Leo. That's all I'm saying.
This is awesome. That is awesome.
I know. Yep.
I bet we could get everybody in the audience to go, dum 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 dum. No, maybe we shouldn't. Maybe we shouldn't even think about that.
Completely off topic, but somewhat related. This beer is amazing.
That's a great beer.
Which one are you drinking?
It is Brother Thelonious.
Who gave him the
Thelonious.
good? How did he get the good beer?
Thelonious.
Belgian style
Brother
Abbey Ale.
Thelonious.
Nice.
You've
Yeah,
talked about
Thelonious.
that before.
North
I think.
Coast.
Leo,
Right.
Mary Jo, I want to do something crazy.
What?
I want to try one of your hoppy beers,
Ooh,
so I can,
the gasps.
and then I'm going to spit it all over Leo's MacBook Pro.
Okay, let's see. There.
You won't be the first, my friend.
Okay.
I'm just going to try a little. 'cause-
Popsicle Imperial.
Is it going to hurt my mouth?
Yes, it is.
Hopsicle. It's hopsicle. So
It's good for you.
You've given up on the
cider, yeah.
And you've
Well, this is
moved
good.
to
I-
Brother Thelonious, and is that a Belgian style?
Yep.
Yeah. I think
Abbey
so.
Ale.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like Belgian.
It's a little dark for
Yeah.
for that, you know.
Long
Belgian
as-
dark?
stouts,
Is it Trappist?
Belgians, porters,
Yeah.
but no hops.
No hops?
Yeah,
It smells like a sewer.
it's the hops.
Aw.
Oh, he's right.
No. It smells like hops, which smell amazing.
Actually, I love hops. Yeah.
Yeah, because I homebrew in my little New York apartment,
That's
and
so
sometimes when I'm homebrewing, it's my neighbors knock on the door because they can smell the hops, and they think I'm doing something else, not brewing.
Oh.
I stand by my earlier assessment of hops.
Exactly.
You're not crazy about it, huh?
We'll win him over yet.
Oh, you want the white
him-
IPA?
give him
Here, have
this
some
one.
chain breaker.
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
How about the chamber?
I need to drink something to get this taste out of my mouth.
And you have a McKellar there, don't you?
I do.
Ooh.
Jeez.
So many good beers.
Thanks again to Liz
And then these
Romero
two.
for
Thanks,
stocking
Liz.
us
Oh,
up.
this is a white IPA.
Yep.
Yeah.
Don't judge me. Get out of here.
And actually, what are we serving our guests, the studio audience?
A lot of different.
A lot of different kinds.
Yeah.
Oh, I saw you bought a different. So you also treated them pretty well. You got good stuff.
Oh yeah, they had shoots. They had
Bud Premium
all
or whatever it's
Southern
called.
Stone, Lagunitas, They had
Oh, wow.
everything.
Nice.
You should have Lagunitas. That's our local brew,
Yeah,
and
that's awesome.
and actually pretty well known all around the world.
Yeah.
now.
Oh, they have a brewery in Chicago now.
Yeah, they just opened Chicago.
Nice.
This has this is not even closely comparable to this. This
In
is
what
good.
way?
In that I can drink this and not want to kill myself.
Well, just drink it and be happy then.
All right.
Exactly.
Mary Jo, you can have this back.
All right. Now I have two. Yay. I
Yeah.
won't drink them all.
This is okay.
Great now. The balloons. Sorry.
I
I
won't pop
introduced
it.
that.
No, I love these Windows XP balloons. I shouldn't blow them up. I mean, really, they're.
Uh-oh, is that going to hit the light?
No, our lights are cool. They won't pop balloons.
Oh.
Dun 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 dun. All right.
All right.
Yeah, was there anything else? Enterprise? Should we talk about the Enterprise?
Was there any enterprise news?
Oh, yes, there was a ton. Day 2 was Enterprise
Oh,
Day.
yeah.
Guys,
Well, look
day 2.
You know, I'll be right back.
Azure came up. I opened my laptop.
Look at the
went to work.
time.
Just gonna see if Titanfall is finished down.
Oh, guys.
go ahead.
Yeah.
I'll just
All
tell
this
you
beer
one.
has gone right through me.
Again,
just
I
tell you one thing.
usually am playing Call of Duty during this part.
No, I'll tell you one really cool thing that they talked about, which if you were there, you know. They talked about the new Azure Management Portal at Build. Scott Guthrie was showing that at the conference. And what's cool about it is it lets you integrate so many things that used to be separate. So billing is in there. Analytic insights are in there. You can actually tune your servers. So if you're an Azure customer and say something's looking bad, like a server's going bad, or you need to add some more server capabilities, it's all in this one dashboard now. And that's actually a really big deal because before it was kind of like things were all over the place. You had to bring in different services when you needed things. So that was a good thing. See, I did it in like 2 minutes
It's true.
instead
It's
of
good.
45 minutes.
I understood it too. So it's really
Yeah,
good.
and then the open sourcing of .NET, that was on the enterprise side
yeah.
too. That was really big.
That was interesting.
Right. And I'm trying to think, anything else on day 2 that was really huge? They had the John Shuchuk and Steve Googs show.
Right.
Googs and Shu. And they demoed a ton of different things they were doing with developing apps, working with partners and hackathons and all kinds of stuff. So that actually was good too, because it means they're reaching out to developers and not just, you know, the big name guys like Pinterest and Facebook, but actually going out to people who are in the real world and trying to
Leo
help them.
literally walked away when you started talking.
Yeah, I know. I'm not taking it personally. Yeah.
There's
Take
nothing
guests
there.
from the audience.
Yeah. Any Hadoop experts want to join us?
Yeah.
No. Okay. Yeah. So that was cool too to see that Microsoft is going back to saying, "Hey, you line of business guys, we need to bring you into the fold, right?" And it's not just the the HTML and JavaScript guys. We want you .NET developers to have tools so that you can more easily get your apps to modern and all that was really good. I thought that was a good message.
Overall, the show seemed like it went off without a hitch.
It
almost.
pretty much did.
Yeah,
I know.
I mean, everybody I talked
there
to
were
said-
things that didn't work here and there.
Oh
right?
yeah.
Right.
But for the most part, just the flow of it, the
Yep.
things announced. Everybody was the people at least I talked to
Yeah.
seemed really excited over.
Yeah,
the
I thought so too.
announcements. Yeah.
Yeah. And lots of coding. They love that.
Right. Yeah.
It's a
Yeah, the
developer
uns-
show.
I
It's a
know.
developer show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually love watching coding on screen.
Do you?
Nice. I love when they do jokes with like angle bracket jokes and
Yeah.
everyone
Oh, yeah.
laughs.
You know,
And I just
you
sit
always
there.
tell you're at the wrong show when like it's like a command line demo or a
I know.
coding demo and people laugh.
I
and
know.
it's like,
Yeah.
Like,
The
okay.
groan.
like really?
Yeah, I know.
I did one. There was one during one of the developer sessions, and the app they're making was a demographics app, and
Yeah.
they had demo graphics in
Oh,
in the
jeez.
code. and- yeah.
Yeah.
So from Twitter, we're seeing what people are drinking. If you
Yep.
are here and you post what you're drinking, Sam Sabri is having a delicious
Nice.
prohibition
He's right there.
ale.
That's
Please
awesome.
feel free to go ahead and.
Nicely framed, by the way.
Yeah, I like that. Good bokeh. Must be a Windows phone, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's definitely a
That's
good,
cool.
good quality 1020? 1520. I
1520.
like the
The big
1520.
phone.
Will
I
they
love
do a
that phone.
1520 with 8.1 soon?
Well, everyone gets
Like
AT&T
Yeah.
Is that the 930
Yeah, AT&T is
basically?
relaunching it kind of with
Yeah.
the green version.
Right,
Yeah.
the new color. Yeah.
Green?
Yeah, lime
know.
green.
Is Alex here?
No, that's from previous episodes.
Screw him.
Yeah. That's a scary one. This is something that the
Oh, jeez. Yikes.
that's actually built into my phone.
Anime Alex.
That capability is built into my phone. There's
that
actually a
is not
slider.
That is not okay.
There's a slider that makes you change the eye size.
It's like an X-Files episode.
Doesn't seem right that they should be able to do that. Yeah. So I don't see any other beer tweets. So go ahead and tweet your beers.
I
and
will. I'll tweet mine.
We'll share that. And Randy says that to please, Paul, spit your beer out on my MacBook. It would be a tremendous improvement.
Oh my.
Yikes.
Oh my. Oh my.
Yeah. Oh, one more. Open source WinJS.
Oh my God,
Woo.
Mary Jo.
Come on. It was a developer show.
What is WinJS?
The Windows JavaScript library for Windows. Open source. How about that?
Didn't they have another more than a library, like a JavaScript super?
Oh,
like-
TypeScript.
TypeScript.
Yeah,
Did they show any of that?
No, they didn't talk
really,
a lot
I mean-
about TypeScript, right? Anders
think
was
so.
there, though. Anders Heilsberg
TypeScript
was
is just like
around.
the compiled version. Is that what?
It's a superset of
JavaScript?
JavaScript that Microsoft wrote. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Jeff Needles shared this picture of his Nuck box making noise. Thank you, Jeff.
Okay.
He said, you got to show this to Paul.
Oh, that's the
Joe."
Internet of Things.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I got one of those. Show
The
this
most
to
tired
Leo. Where is
buzzword of-
this?
Yeah, I'm
Buzz
sure it's
phrase.
part of that.
No, it's something else. I think it's a little ZDNet TV thing.
Oh, that rubber cube.
Yeah. Do you remember that?
Yeah, we had a bunch of those.
Yeah,
I don't
that
think I
thing.
have one of those.
That
yeah.
thing.
No, those are great.
Those are classics.
And there's quite a few of them that I have signed in my past.
Nice.
So do you want to do Q&A? Oh, we
have
got to
some-
talk to Ellen, though, still.
Oh yeah, let's
get
do
Ellen.
Alan. Then Q&A.
Daniel, can you swap with Ellen? I mean, you can come back.
Applause.
Take your
Fine, guys,
take
I'm
your
outta here.
Thelonious with you.
Daniel,
He was
that
awesome.
stays.
Can we give him some applause?
Yeah,
Applause.
Daniel Rubino, WP Central. He'll be back. He'll be
He was
back.
awesome.
Introduce Alan for us.
Awesome.
So who is Alan?
Right. I'm not even going to try to pronounce your last
He's
name.
from
But anyway,
Lithuania. We know that much. Put his lower third
Alan
up.
is from
and
Ad Duplex, and they do, well, I mean, they don't do, this is not what they do, but one of the things that they do is
Mendelevich.
provide.
Pretty close.
What? Say it.
Mendelevich.
Mendelevich.
Thank you for acting like I should have just
And you're from
gotten that.
and you're from Lithuania.
Yeah.
And so what does Ad
Why don't you
Duplex
just-
do?
yeah, why don't you describe it?
Yeah, so we are basically a cross-promotion network for Windows Phone and Windows Store apps. So what we do, we help developers promote their apps for free. So if you're a developer of an app, you just place a line of code into it, start promoting other apps, they promote yours in return. This is all free. The only catch is that we take 20% of that exchange. So you show 100 ad impressions for other apps, we show 80 for you, and take 20 and sell that to advertisers.
That's actually a clever idea.
But one of the things that they provide as a service, actually to me, is, and among other people, is they provide usage stats for Windows Phone.
You know who's
Right.
using it. Yeah.
And it's actually very interesting because you get to see the percentages of which phones are out in the world and so forth. And so actually, I would imagine that some of these phones that are being introduced, like the 930, the 635, 630, you probably have seen traces of because obviously
Yeah,
this is most
we've
of the-
seen that, but the sad news, nothing else.
Oh
Yeah.
wow, really?
Yeah.
And you typically would have by now if there was something in the next few months.
Yeah. Most like, unless they are doing something specifically.
To block the ID or
Yeah, but
they're
but
spoofing the ID.
Usually they don't do
Yeah.
that, and actually they don't mind it. I've asked Nokia, I've asked Microsoft.
I don't think they are. I actually think this is going to be kind of a quiet period because obviously the Nokia transaction has to occur.
Speaking as a oh, that's why.
No, but also, think about how you might launch phones, right?
Well, what an opportunity for HTC or Samsung to get the jump on Nokia to do
Yeah.
a Windows 8.1 phone.
There will be
Right.
a Samsung and Verizon in US only.
Yeah. And is that going to be a high end?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's not the one that was just announced yesterday.
Which one was announced?
ATIV, anyone know? Daniel,
SE?
The new Sims.
And Daniel? Daniel, please wake up. Well, yesterday, there's a new Verizon Samsung phone. It is the
Yeah, that is it.
That's it.
Oh, that's it. Okay.
But that's 8.0, isn't it? Right.
Oh, no, see 8.0. There's no point. Get who you'd be.
8.0 is so yesterday.
You would be nuts to buy an 8.0 phone today, would you not?
What's the difference?
No, everyone gets it for free.
Yeah.
Oh, because you're gonna get it.
Yeah.
You'd still be nuts.
There is nothing like
You need to get off the
hardware.
cliff, man.
Users do not.
This is an Apple.
I'm not buying a
It's
phone.
not. It's not immediately obsolete.
I am wait. Is there no reason why I'd want the hardware to match the new 8.1 operating system? There's no special stuff.
Well,
that I would get.
There's a possibility of virtual buttons right inside the hardware button. So I think the 630, Danny, the way 630 I think has it. 930 does not.
No, correct. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have the hardware buttons.
It'd
Okay.
be like going to the store saying, "I want Jelly Bean."
I don't think with SE, I don't think there's anything. It's got all the latest chipset.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's 1080p quad-core processor.
Okay.
But it's nothing special to look at. And then you're saying there's nothing else.
No.
All right, see you later. Thanks.
By the way, as for the tip for developers and anyone, you don't want to come to Build if you want to know the latest news. You stay at home, you know more, way more.
Yeah,
You
didn't know-
felt like you missed stuff because you were here.
On that side, on the news side, obviously.
Yeah.
But there is a lot of.
But you meet
why,
people,
Yes.
you get
Why?
to
Why you
talk
come?
and
You don't come here for
social.
news. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
That's fair.
Because you know.
Yeah.
When I watch Windows Weekly, most of the time I already know most of the things you're talking about. But
All right, you need to get out of here. Right now.
Yeah. But today I know nothing. Yeah.
Yeah.
You see? Isn't this a useful show?
Yeah.
Yeah.
obviously, yeah.
So you should travel more.
I do have that feeling, in Build, especially. I don't get out of the house much, certainly, but I feel like I could have kind of covered this show
remotely.
from home, other than the fact that I get to go talk to Microsoft guys.
It's true about all trade shows. That's true.
Yeah.
It's like going to a football game.
It's a weird
Yeah.
moment. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're actually right. You could have a better experience if you have a big enough TV. You get all the instant replay and all that kind of stuff.
Much
and
better experience.
It often
But
can be a better experience.
But you don't get the feeling of the crowd. You don't get the
Right.
environment.
And you don't get the access to the execs.
Exactly.
Right.
And I think access to the execs is for you
It's pretty
guys
key.
very important. right?
Especially at a
I mean,
football
you said earlier that you talked to what I can't remember, but you said Frank. You
Frank
talked to
Shaw,
Frank
Terry.
Terry Morrison,
Yeah.
and
Adam
boom,
Son,
boom, boom, right?
Joe
And
I got
Belfiore.
Scott Guthrie.
So you
Yep.
can say, "Let me ask you, Scott, what do you think?" And that, I mean, that's valuable.
That's pretty valuable.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and for us, Mirror
It's very-
Models,
it's
you
very-
get access to like developer teams.
Actually, right.
Yeah,
you get
yeah.
to talk to the engineers.
Yeah, and
the
you get
guys
to
are actually
provide
good.
feedback and on the
Yeah.
spot, and they have
That's
to look
great.
you in the eyes and say, yeah.
So that was that. So that
that's
was
not common.
that was good for you. That was useful.
Yeah, that's good.
I think that's the
Yeah.
best part
Yes.
about coming to
It
a show
is.
like this for
Yeah.
an actual developer.
I'm sure there was a time in Lithuania where you felt like you were out in the sticks and that you were kind of distant from what was going on. Is that changing now? Because of it, I mean, no,
Tony's right.
seriously. I mean,
Yeah. I can tell you that we still don't have Xbox 360 officially released in Lithuania. We have a lot of them, but it's not officially
you're gonna
released.
love Abe's Oddworld. That is a great game. I'm telling you.
Right,
I
right.
just adore that.
Yeah, but from the other sides, we actually have like second fastest internet in the world or whatever.
News is good, and you get
On average, yeah. So the time zone is a problem, yeah. So
Yeah.
I can rarely watch you live. But
Right, right.
But now you're here, so that's
yeah,
great.
yeah.
Yeah.
We're working on that. We've circulated a petition to end all time zones.
Excellent.
I think that'll help.
Nice.
Now you just have to stop sleeping at night.
yeah.
Not a problem after this.
You're a
trip.
programmer.
Yeah.
Leon
So-
Zandman is watching. He's drinking Palm, but he's not here in studio with
How
us. I don't
dare
know.
he drink
Is
Palm.
Palm good?
Yeah.
Leon's
really
a good
good.
friend, and he lives near Amsterdam.
All right. Tobiah Marks is drinking that Angry Orchard cider. Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. That put Daniel on his tuchus.
Daniel is literally snoring over in the corner.
and
He's so
Grant-
cute when he's asleep.
Grant's just watching. He's not drinking. He's just watching. So that's nice. So thank you for the tweets again. Especially if you're in the studio audience, we'd like to know what you're drinking today. So
Yep.
whip out that Windows phone, take a picture, tweet it at Leo Laporte, and I will see it.
I can add one thing that you
Yes.
didn't mention that I think is kind of big. But it's kind of small, but it's kind of big.
Yeah.
They are placing now in Windows 8. They are placing the store icon on the taskbar.
Yeah.
Right,
So
by default.
So yeah, so from our stats, we see a lot of of growth on Windows Phone. So it's constantly growing. We've been doing this for 3 years.
Yeah.
It's growing constantly. For Windows 8, it was like launch, and then it's
Yeah,
growing
yeah,
slowly because like people
That's
who use
interesting.
desktop, they never see the apps,
true.
never see the store.
So it's funny
this could
because
be-
they
yeah.
tout that, and my reaction to that is like, what, whatever. I mean, to me, that wasn't a big deal. But you're saying,
Normal people
Yes.
may not know
Th-
that was
there is
a
a hope that
Right.
it's a big deal. That
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
not necessarily will be
Yep.
a big deal, but yeah.
no, you're probably right, actually. Yeah.
At least some people will.
This is
click
why
it.
people use Internet Explorer, right? It's just there. So you show them this, and
Yeah.
they'll click on
Yeah.
it.
Well, and as a user, I'm glad to see the off switch up there as well. I think that's a
power button is
Yeah.
back.
power button.
The mystery of the
back.
power
That's
button.
awesome.
Yeah, we actually did an experiment that worked. It was a new person, not a technical person.
Yeah.
And we watched her.
How do you
try
turn
to-
this off?
Yes.
Right. Hazing ritual.
Well, Paul was watching me. We were sitting next to each other in the keynote, and Paul was watching
Mary
me
Jo's
use my
questions are
laptop.
so awesome.
He's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Your workflow. Wow."
Hey, it works for me.
That's what I said. He's like, "I'm going to help you later."
We're gonna have a little symposium.
Yeah.
I'm getting used to my new laptop.
I can't. What did you ask me to fix on your laptop?
Don't say that.
Okay, sorry.
No, don't.
It was funny.
It was embarrassing.
So modern apps will have the title bar.
Yeah.
That's not just merely windowing. There'll be a title bar even if you're full screen.
Well, they're only full screen still, but they will have only when you have a mouse. And so if you move
You
the
can
mouse
mouse
to the
up
top
there.
of the screen, you'll
say,
get that.
what the hell am
Right.
I
So
looking at?
see me here with my title bar. See how
Yeah.
it says tech meme.
That's handy.
Handy.
Now, if you interact with it with touch, you're never going to see that because
Right.
that doesn't make
Right.
sense for touch.
Another thing we were talking about in our web design meetings is you can't assume that hover works anymore. because
Right,
so
that's
many
the biggest
people-
problem. Yeah.
Yeah.
And when I was talking last year about RT and the performance issues and so forth, I was looking for a car at the time. A lot of the problems in those car sites is they have a button on a menu that says cars. And what you're supposed to do is hover over it, and then it
Right.
jumps down and it
How do you
shows you
do
a menu
that?
with pictures.
Right.
And on touch,
Well, rest assured,
There are
we've
workarounds.
considered this in the new Twitch site, and there will be no hovering.
nice.
No hovering.
No hovering allowed.
Good.
So, anything else to say before?
I just want to ask you one more question. So, you obviously measure usage, which shows you sort of percentages of which devices are the most popular and so forth. And that's interesting on one level. But the one question I get all the time is, but what does this mean for actual numbers? And I know you can't measure that, but have you seen a material increase in the number of Windows phones that are surveyed, I guess?
Yeah, so basically that's obviously they're growing. It's not a question, but as to, what's the growth ratio?
Yeah.
So I can tell you that the number of apps we have has grown over the year like 3 times, but the number of ad impressions that they show has grown 11 times. So you can,
Nice.
so you can, it's obviously not hard science, but it's like 4 times growth of the ecosystem as a whole.
Nice.
Right. Wow. Okay. That's great.
Yeah.
Somebody, let's see. Somebody called the San Francisco Bay. That's his Twitter name. Is drinking an IPA. Which one is that? Looks good. I don't know. Who is that? It's at San Francisco Web. Are you actually the San Francisco Bay?
Nice.
Wow. Nice to know.
I forgot to tweet you on mine, but I took a picture.
There's an IPA, a Lagunitas IPA that's being consumed currently by Mark Baer.
If anyone took a picture of me drinking an IPA, I need you to destroy that photo immediately, by the way.
Especially the face you were making.
Solomon Capistrano, he's
I thought
at
my
home.
mouth was going to collapse on itself.
But he's having a Newcastle Brown Ale, a classic.
That is.
Absolute classic.
Yeah.
Morton is eating ice cream.
I was going to say, it looks like he has like a vomit bag in his hand.
Jack, I don't see your beer. I just see us. But I'm sure there's a beer in there somewhere. Here's Grant Skinner. He is drinking, what does that be? That looks like, I don't know what that is. But he's taken off his wristwatch.
Looks like it's like a ransom photo. Like I've included a picture of the time so
so
you
we
can prove
know
that,
this is today. Right. This is today.
I have your child.
Randy Weaver drinking in a Stone IPA.
Nice.
Nice.
Who said nice?
I don't know if Magner's counts as beer, but he's drinking it. That's Mark Downer. Karl Skrona. Jeff Galley must be in Denmark right now, yeah? That looks like a big ass can. It's like the 3-footer. All right. Here's a guy who says, "Beer? What beer? I'm drinking whiskey."
With an overly excited looking picture of Mary Jo Foley.
She's actually looking at the
after a sip.
whiskey. That's Jack Frost, who says, "Have some Appleton Estate." In our studio, I think, maybe not. This is Per Gunnar, who's drinking Fuller's Past Masters Double Stout.
Wow.
This should be a new feature on Windows
I
Week.
know.
So we normally do it
That
so
would be
early in
kinda
the day.
fun. Oh, so what?
A little Shinerbach. FM 966 Farmhouse Ale. I like that.
Oh,
That's-
boy.
Oh,
Bill-
that's
Bill
good. You would
Collette.
like that.
There's
Yeah.
way too many hoppy beers
No,
in here.
Farmhouse
Well,
What
he's
is-
looking at
It's like a
Tony's hop
Belgian.
henge. Huh? What are you laughing at? Liz likes. Liz,
Yeah.
you like the
That's
hop
my
henge.
favorite right now.
Is it really?
Hop
Really?
in. Oh,
Hop
yeah.
henge.
hop henge.
Maybe we
really?
should open
That was from
That's
from
to shoot
Tony.
also. You like to shoot stuff.
Shoots is always
It's
good.
always
You can never
good.
go bad.
No. Yeah.
That's Tony Wang.
Oh, Tony.
He's down the
He's like
hall.
stacking the deck.
There he is.
is.
He actually controls the camera.
There's Rod.
What are you drinking there?
Rod's drinking coffee.
That's Anthony Nielsen. He's drinking the Triple Bach.
Oh, nice.
That looks good.
That looks really nice.
That's a nice. Here's
Rod-
somebody who's
that's
looks
Rod
like
Trent.
they're having a.
a rod. Nice.
Yeah,
Rod
Rod.
Trent's having a Moscow Mule. It looks like there. Either that or he's in prison and
It's
that's
probably,
his tin cup.
it's probably coffee.
She loves that. I don't know what it is, but she's stroking it like a friend. Somebody. Whoa!
Yeah.
Torfi Par Gunnarsson is drinking Jesus.
Oh.
Body of Christ.
Is it? What is that? Leosol. Leosol.
The good news is all of his sins have been forgiven.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Too soon?
That looks like a hard liquor there that Shabesh Malhotra is drinking. Sam Sabri, we already saw his. Okay, I think we're repeating now. Becky Williams, what are you having, Becky? A couple of beers, a Purple Haze.
Oh, that's nice.
and a
Oh,
Shock
Purple
Top.
Haze.
No, that's not nice.
Lemon Shandy doesn't count. We don't allow lemon shandies here. And here's
So
a
no
guy.
coupon.
Marcus Blaurock, who has his Nokia phone out and ready for your call.
He's going to play Snake while he waits.
Wow.
Wow.
I wonder if that's actually in service. Wow.
Oh, and we have another beer that's on chill that.
Oh, right. We got to break that out.
So we had a fan of Windows Weekly say he wanted to come to the Blogger Bash last night. He came from Denmark.
I just want to understand how this is possible.
I know.
Because you're not supposed to be able to fly with that much liquid.
So he brought
You know?
us like some rare Danish beer.
It could be in his check.
Yeah,
bags.
and he brought it to us, and he
But
he
how
hands it to me
crazy
at
is
Build
that?
yesterday, and it's
Imagine
like,
if
here.
that exploded open in his
I'm
bag.
like, okay, now what do I do with that?
Here's a South African beer, Vincent Lucan.
Nice. Wow.
I flew home with
Sent
salsa
along.
one time
It's
from
called-
Phoenix, and
They
it
wouldn't let you,
exploded
right?
all over my clothes.
Oh,
you know?
really? Wow.
Hainpoot, something like that.
Yikes.
Hanepoot. South African beer in a big bottle. Looks like a liquor bottle. It looks like a fifth of beer.
No?
Fifth of beer.
A fifth of beer. There's
Oh yeah, this is
Inquisition.
it. Does anybody in the audience want to
wine.
help us drink this?
Ooh.
It's from Tao, his name was, in Denmark, and he brought it and he hands it off to me in the middle of Build and goes, here.
Yeah,
And I'm just walking around with a beer in my hand.
my beer.
Mary Jo is the most famous alcoholic in tech.
I am pretty much. I am pretty much. I know. So this one he said is really great. It's like a Christmas style beer, so people who don't like hoppy might like this one.
Christian Lamson's drinking
I'm
Abel
listening.
Clark's philosophy.
You might.
Let me get it
I
started.
think you should start with that.
It's
But be
warm.
careful. It might be
No, it's getting there.
fizzy.
Yeah,
Watch
yeah.
out for the cork.
Drink down that hoppy stuff.
Is there anything I could destroy if it were?
No, shoot it straight up. There've been more wine, more champagne bottles shot here. I'm gonna have to say I'm gonna regret. Oh, now here's a guy in a true geek fashion. This is what's the big IT? He's drinking Mountain Dew Code
Nice.
Red.
Wow.
As if there's the programmers in the audience are saying no, that's behind glass. That's break glass in case of bugs. Right there. You don't want to drink that stuff straight. Anyway, thank you for all
she's
the.
got the
Wow, look at
special-
you.
Look
All
at
the
Delirium
tweets.
Tremens glasses. What?
What?
You guys have your own
Luis
glassware?
Camino.
We need to come here more often.
Oh,
Paul.
we take this stuff very serious.
Oh, look at this.
Sure, why an alcoholic would want a beer called Delirium
You want some?
Tremens, but
Yeah, exactly.
No, it's fine. That's all right.
that's quite good. That's
really
the Danish beer is
Yes.
quite good.
Really good.
We might have to adjust our thinking on Danish beer and,
And
Belgian
did our
beer.
Australian guys with the beer show up too? Last night they had a 6-pack. You do. You have it? Okay, bring it up. This guy brought a 6-pack
Okay.
of Australian beer for us.
What I just heard was screw the Q&A.
No, we're just preparing.
Thank you. That was so awesome. What's your name again?
Mark.
Mark.
Thank you, Mark.
It's like the most famous one.
Thank you. You can punch me in the stomach later.
Cooper's Brewery Original Pale Ale.
I know, because we never have Australian beers as our beer pick of the week because I never can get them. So
This is fantastic, and you cannot have any more of this.
I'm a Bosie's fan, so I don't know if I could try this, but we'll see.
yeah.
Look at all.
I know.
I am stunned by the number of beer pictures. Apparently, this is a very popular thing to do.
It's
Here's a
become
little
a
Brooklyn
thing.
Pennant Ale. I like that name.
Nice.
Yeah, that's a really good
That's
one.
from your neck of the
Yes,
woods
it
there.
is.
That's Jeff Decker drinking
Nice.
that. James Clark. Looks like Coke. I hate to tell you, James, but I do like his setup. Is that a Windows phone and a
It is.
Surface, or is it an iPad?
No, it's a different. Looks.
That's an
maybe-
iPad, I think, with a Windows phone.
I don't think so. I think it's a.
He's in the chat, or he's tweeting via his Windows phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, and there was a guy also who brought
By the way,
Brazil.
Dunkin' Donuts perfectly acceptable.
James Clark. He's having a
Perfectly
little,
acceptable.
DD.
James Clark. Oh,
Yeah. Oh, you know all these people.
I know some.
Yeah, that's nice. All right.
Yeah.
And here's a guy's trying to actually feed you. He's trying to force you to eat $14.92.
Which is pretty much the only way that
That's
could have happened.
hilarious.
Thank you, Antonio
And
S.
the expression on your face is exactly right. For
It
that.
is. It's like, no.
It's like a Saw movie.
It is.
Now, kids, we're not encouraging heavy consumption of alcoholic beverages.
Per se.
Per se.
se.
And certainly wouldn't say that this is a
No.
great thing to do, but I don't know. That looks like wine that comes in a box, Keshwar. But it does make you smile. Okay? And here's a mongoose from
We have learned
Jason
something
Stiff. Nicely.
slightly depressing about our audience today. And this is like the most interaction we've ever had.
It is. And that's here's some Jupiter, a nice Belgian Jupiter from
Nice.
Aquasi Gaiabor from Eric Duckman. We've got the Keystone
There's
Walker
some
805.
crazy looking beer in this thing.
Yeah,
There's a lot of different kinds. Here's a Vermont beer from Megabits Cafe.
I don't
It's
know. I think
Limbo
it's time for
IPA.
Twib. This week in beer.
This week in beer. Clearly, we're
Just
missing
saying.
the boat.
Twib.
Twib.
This Friday night in beer.
All right, and Liz is volunteering for the job.
Right.
I'll do it.
You
I'll
should,
do
you should
it.
call it This Week in Growler.
Oh yeah. We should tell him about you bringing me beer to New York. That was really funny.
Yeah.
So Paul came down to New York recently on Amtrak, and he pulls out a suitcase. And I'm like, "What's in the suitcase?" And he opens it, and it's beer.
It's a bunch of beer.
He's like carrying it around New York, a suitcase full of beer.
Wow.
That was nice of you, though.
It's good beer.
So I'll tell you what, let me take a break, and then we will do questions and answers so we can get the microphone ready to throw out into the audience. And we got a great group of people here. Almost 60 strong, and we're going to give you all a chance if you have questions, personal or technical, for Paul and Mary Jo. Our show today brought to you by our friends at Citrix. You know, I am always recording and sending audio to radio stations and passing audio around. And I found that, there's lots of different ways to do it, but you got to find a way that is easy for the end user. And this is why I use ShareFile. If you are in business, you know by now that sending email attachments is the wrong thing to do. And yet so many business emails have an attachment, whether it's a contract, a spreadsheet, a presentation. It's just the way we do it. But it's not safe. It's not secure. And you got a problem with bounce backs. If these files get too big, and too big could be as little as 10 megabytes, you're going to have a bounce back. It's not going to get there. There's no guarantee it arrives. With ShareFile, your attachments are not sent as attachments. They're sent as a secure link, but it's easier than attachments because you have the ShareFile sync tool running. So I have several ShareFile folders on my desktop. They're automatically synchronized to the cloud. I can use the ShareFile interface on my desktop, but I can use it on my phone too. They've got apps for all the platforms. And then I can send along files. I can control who has access, the level of permissions they have. I can confirm when files are received. I even get email alerts. And it is HIPAA compliant. It's compliant with SEC regulations. In fact, the regulations in many different industries. That's why when you sign up for ShareFile, and I'm going to tell you how you can do this free for 30 days, you should tell it what industry you're in so that you get the right configuration. If you're watching the show and you want 30 days free to try ShareFile, and if you're not the decider at your business, tell your decider, because I'm telling you, this is going to change everything about how you do business. Click the radio microphone where it says podcast listeners at the top of the page. Click that and use our offer code WINDOWS, and then do select your industry so they can customize it for your industry, fill you in on the regulations and so forth. Everything from accounting, advertising, engineering, event planning, financial, legal, nonprofit, photography. I use it to share photos, you bet. Video and more. ShareFile.com. Click the microphone at the top of the page and use the offer code WINDOWS. 30 days free awaits. We thank Citrix and ShareFile for their support of Windows Weekly. Good Lord, there's a lot of beer on this table.
Look at this thing.
If you're just tuning in.
According to Untapped, this is the first time I've drank this beer this month and the first time ever.
Cheers!
So now I know that.
Checked in on the beer. Now, that yellow scheme that you're using for colors,
no, that's just the app.
Is that by your choice? Oh, that's just the app. Okay, that's a relief.
Yeah, it's a Phone Gap app.
It is.
Yeah.
Yep.
Not native.
Oh,
That's right.
It's done
That's
in
right.
Phone Gap.
Yeah.
It's like an Android app, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Does it work pretty well?
It works great. Yep.
Good for Phone Gap.
Yep.
We'll take it. We're Windows Phone users.
So
we have no choice.
Our talented staff, a.k.a. John Slanina, has a microphone in his hand. Please, if you have a question for Paul, Mary Jo, Daniel Rubino for Windows Phone Central, raise your hand and we'll send you the microphone. Say your name and who you work for or where you're from or anything that would help us understand why you're here.
I'm Jeffrey Harmon. I have my own software company doing Windows 8 and Windows Phone apps as well as in business software.
Awesome.
And during the day, I also do database development and web development. So I'm wondering with the rapid release of new versions of Windows, how is that going to affect, I know, small devices are now free, but they're still charging for the larger devices. How is that going to affect them charging for a new version? Because, in free software, versions don't matter too much, but in paid software, 8s you pay for, updates are free. When 9 comes out, you pay for it. If they're releasing everything in, 6-month cadences, it's hard to really have that point where someone that just bought a brand new one, it's harder to charge for that big gap because there's no more big gaps anymore.
I sort of talked with them vaguely about that kind of thing this week, and they don't have a direct answer yet. I think this is still kind of up in the air, but they're obviously aware of that.
Yeah, even with Windows Phone, right? They can't.
Yeah.
Windows Phone 9, they would have to. There are a lot of legal complications that go.
Is there at some point right where they imagine? Is there going to be a point where they ever charge for a Windows Phone update? Right, which is kind of an interesting question.
Right. Well,
So Windows Phone 9 comes
free,
out.
so
Well, does it require like a dual core processor or a quad core processor? I mean, maybe there'll be some dividing line. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I can't answer that. Well, I can't answer.
I don't know
I mean,
either.
Yeah, I mean,
no. I don't think we know yet.
I think it's up in the air. Is the
And
way to
we
say
don't
it.
know what
But they're aware of it. It's not like that. You know, you wouldn't ask if you asked Microsoft this question, which I actually kind of did. There's no, oh yeah, you know, this is how we're doing it. I mean, I think there's a. They're looking at how Office 365 has been accepted by consumers. Obviously, it's not a big leap to think about a subscription version of Windows, where that replaces that. You know, you pay for X versions. Or
and
whatever.
Apple charges for their updates, and people.
That's true.
Still
people
pay.
do it. Yeah.
And maybe they'll go to the
A cheaper
think Windows
yearly.
365 by the time of Windows 9 even. Maybe.
Yep, that wouldn't surprise me in the slightest.
Yeah.
And they'll give you, you know, if you think about how Office 365 works, kind of liberal licensing, which I think is really the future. The way Windows works now, you buy a copy of Windows, it's tied to that PC. That's so antiquated, you know.
Yeah. Office 365 is really kind of awesome. I don't know, like.
Yeah.
I really like the model they did.
I do too.
Yeah.
But you know, I also run into people who say, I don't get it. Why would I want to pay for this thing? You know, why would I want to pay for it
Because
every
they don't
year?
have 5 devices like
yeah.
this.
yeah, and that's fair.
Yeah.
You know, that's absolutely fair. Leo, what are you doing?
Nothing.
And one correction on Roslyn. Even though it's compiler as a service, it's actually a local service. It's not anything cloud-based.
Oh, okay.
It just means that a developer can actually call into the compiler and get information about the code. That's what they're referring to for that. Normally, it's compiles a black box, but code in, binary comes out.
Great, thanks.
And actually, the new version of C# is Roslyn. There's no more non-Roslyn.
Yeah, and actually,
C# 6 is Roslyn.
Is Roslyn and is open source, right? Yeah.
Yes, and that's open source.
Yeah. I'd love to see C# make the leap and become the cross-platform language. You know, it's so clean.
That's what's nice for Xamarin, because it means the compiler you use for the internet is the same on Windows.
Yeah.
Pass the microphone around. Yes, sir.
Just a quick comment. There actually were 2 sessions on TypeScript.
There were.
Anders gave one an update on it, and then right after that, there was a session on developing a large-scale application using TypeScript.
Okay. Cool. Did you go to the Anders TypeScript session? Did you go to it?
I did not, but it's on the schedule.
I actually met Anders at the show for the first time, and Leo often references the Delphi Super Bible.
Yes.
And so I was able to tell him that I go back a long time with his stuff. You know, that I was a Turbo Pascal guy, Object Pascal, Delphi.
Was he at Borland?
Yeah, he did all this stuff. And so it's kind of interesting if you follow the progression. C# is in many ways the kind of C-based successor to Object Pascal, you know, in some ways.
He's a very bright guy, and he's very well spoken.
And he's a really nice guy. Yeah. So that was kind of neat. You know.
Thank you, sir. Any other questions for Paul, Mary Jo, and Daniel? And say who you are and what brings you to Build.
And we know that Australia isn't a third world country.
Okay.
I was a joke.
Don't be mad.
Hi guys, would you believe my name's Mark as well from Australia? So 2 Marks there.
Oh, you are from Australia? Are you serious?
Yeah.
Nailed it.
Yikes. You can always tell. You know what
are they, Mary Jo, are they Coopers? Are they Coopers beers there? Yeah. Good choice. Good choice.
Really?
Yeah, he's giving you good ones. I'm just curious, with all these changes lately at Microsoft, how much of that do you think is Satya's vision and how much is it the board's vision he's executing?
Right.
That's a great
Bit
question.
was, how long do you think ELOP will stick around?
Yep. And you know, the other part to your question is how much of it was Steve Ballmer, right?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
I talked to Soma Somasegar, you know, who runs the developer division, about the decision to do .NET as open source this week. And, you know, I saw so many people tweeting and saying, see, that's Satya.
That's so...
It wasn't.
So
It was Ballmer.
short-sighted, yeah.
And Soma told me Ballmer is the one who came up with that plan,
Yeah.
and Satya was the one who pulled the trigger on it, but it was Ballmer.
You know, it's like the president, the new president gets elected, and the economy suddenly
recovers,
does great,
and,
and they take credit for it. But you know,
that was 12 months.
The factors that contributed to that occurred previously.
They did.
You know, it's a little more nuanced.
Even Office on iPad, right? Like so many people said, "Oh, well, Steve Ballmer never would have let that happen." He was the one who made it happen first before Windows.
The other thing to think of is, you know, when you asked about the board versus Satya, is that how you said it? I mean, the fact that Satya was picked by the board, essentially by that special team part of the board, tells you that these guys are all in line.
Yeah.
And so it almost doesn't. There's almost no delineation between was it their idea, his idea, that kind of thing, because they're kind of on the same page. We would have to imagine.
Yeah.
Across the board.
Yeah, to some degree. I mean, there's some dissent in the board.
Of course, there will always be, but they're not going to pick the guy that completely disagrees with everything they want
the
to
guy
do.
who wants to sell Bing, sell Xbox. Okay, let's get him.
Tony Bates is gone for a reason.
Yeah.
You know.
Thanks for the question, Mark.
Yeah.
Moving on. Anybody else? Question for Paul, Mary Jo?
I can't believe he's from Australia. That's hilarious.
You have a gift.
Hi.
Uh-oh. Rolling.
Hi, everyone.
Is Liz over
George
there?
Roberts from...
Say your name again?
George Roberts from Chicago.
Hi, George.
Sir Twist on Twitter.
Sir Twist.
Sir Twist, are you a developer?
I am. Windows Phone.
I'm so sorry.
ASP.NET.
Go on.
I'm going to ask sort of an opinion question here, but, you know, Windows Phone has been making a lot of gains everywhere else but the U.S.
Yeah.
So what does Microsoft need to do to get Windows Phone above 10% in the U.S.?
Well, they need to hire me and then give me a lot of money. No, if I knew that answer, I would. I mean, I don't think anyone knows. It's the problem in the U.S. is those 2-year contracts lock people in.
The other thing, but you know, isn't it interesting that in the United States, not necessarily uniquely in the world, but one of the few countries in the world where the iPhone has huge market share.
Right.
Yeah.
When you look at the overall worldwide picture, it's 80%, 17 or 14%, whatever, and then the rest is Windows Phone mostly. In the United States, iPhone is like 50%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so this, what?
Yeah.
iPhone in US
Is the same.
is the same as
Yeah. Because of the sub.
Europe it costs like 2 times as much.
Yeah.
Right. So I think the moves in the United States to get rid of the subsidized smartphones, which is occurring right now, and a lot of other things that are going on. You know, T-Mobile, which is a very minority position in the United States, is changing policies for international calling, international
and
data.
growing as a result.
Of course.
Yeah.
These are the types of things that trigger change, and so we'll see. But the United States is hard because this market is so skewed toward Apple.
Yeah.
One of the best things about coming to San Francisco for Build is you walk around and everyone has Windows Phone.
Yeah, and I've actually noticed over the last 2 years that's actually dramatically changed. I remember Build 2-3 years ago, Windows Phone was actually you didn't see it very much. Now I see it all.
I got to commend Microsoft for sticking with it because I think 8.1 really is starting to look like a very competitive platform in almost every respect. The only respect you could say it's lagging is ecosystem. I won't even say apps. I'll just say ecosystem. And of course, when you come into a market like the U.S. where there's an entrenched ecosystem of iPhone and then secondarily Android, that is a speed bump.
Yeah.
Maybe less of a speed bump in other countries where Nokia is a better known brand and better beloved.
You remember that.
That's an issue right there too. Is Nokia means really nothing in the U.S., which a lot of people don't understand. When
Nokia used to, but not anymore.
Well, even still with Symbian, I never saw Symbian. I never touched it. You know, so Nokia doesn't have that reputation here. Where like in other countries, just the name Nokia, people will.
It means smartphone.
Oh yeah. So there's that tide that they have to like really fight against.
And I would guess that you don't have people who have highly invested in Android or Apple ecosystems, so there's less of a disincentive to move to Windows Phone. Maybe also they're buying their first smartphone more than we would be, and as a result, they're less worried about whether Foursquare's on it or not.
Tell me if you remember this conversation, because I don't remember what the context was, but somebody said that when you look at Windows Phone usage in the United States, it's largely centered in the middle of the country.
Oh, really?
The kind of flyover type states, right? Because in those markets, they're not necessarily super interested in the trendy, a bright white iPhone thing. You can buy a $99 phone or $69 phone and get it off contract, and it's kind of interesting. I sort of like that aspect to it in a way, because I feel like that is the computing for the rest of us kind of thing.
It's a hipster phone.
Yeah, it kind of is, which is weird, right?
I guess that peer pressure is influential in this, or what your friends and family, what looks cool.
But the
Leon
retail
Zaman in the chat room says in the Netherlands people actually buy because it's Nokia.
Because it's Nokia, right?
That's a big thing. That's why everybody's worried about the acquisition, like what's going to happen. With
I was always fascinated by Nokia, and when they picked up Windows Phone, I was really excited by that because it's almost it has kind of an interesting quality to it. You know, it's foreign and it's unknown. You know, and it's different.
Yeah.
And you know, we haven't had Nokia has not been a factor in the United States for a long time.
I think you watch. I think that there is a growing awareness, partly because of Nokia's ad campaigns, and they've been very good, of Windows Phone. And I think Windows 8 Phone 8.1 is going to be a tipping point. I predict.
They got to figure out the retail experience, though, right? Like,
Well, I mean,
it's gotten better.
It's better, but there's
sort
still
of better.
like you could still talk to like a Verizon employee, and they'll be like, "Yeah, but this doesn't have Instagram on it."
Right.
And so there's the reality, and then there's the delay,
I know.
and they're still fighting that.
What major apps are going to be missing when 8.1 comes out? Not Instagram.
We're still waiting on Flipboard.
Yeah.
And someone asked about that.
I don't think Flipboard's that important. How about Sonos? That would be a deal breaker.
Sonos,
for me.
they just
They're our third-party apps.
Yeah, but they just there's a really good third-party app called Phonos, and Sonos actually did a survey recently with their own customers asking,
should we?
Yeah, not only do you want a Windows Phone app, but what do you want in it?
Right.
That would make.
I'll tell you, here's what I want in it. I want what's in the iPhone app.
Yeah.
So stop asking and just
do it.
make it.
Well,
you know?
that's where Mark Whitten went to work, is Sonos,
Okay.
right? So,
Oh, right, yeah.
Now
I
there's gonna be one.
truly think this is going to be a tipping point. I think you're going to see a year from now. We'll look back and say, "Boy, that really was the watershed event."
You know, it's going to be Cortana.
And I say that
I think that's
as
going to
an
be
outsider. Cortana.
It'll
is
work
a
into the
big one.
pop culture.
As an
Right.
outsider who uses Android, I was with the iPhone since 2007. This is the first time I'm looking at it going, you know, that's reached parity.
Did you say you were an iPhone user since 2007?
Yeah.
The year that the iPhone came out?
With no apps?
Man, I got in line to buy that iPhone with no apps, but no one else had apps either, so it wasn't.
It's true.
But
Windows Mobile.
Honestly, if Nokia would just put Snake on Lumia's, I think that would be it.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. No, I like Android phones more now than I do iPhones, but in terms of pure functionality. But I think that Windows Phone has a real opportunity here.
Yeah.
I was impressed. I was sitting there watching Joe's haircut, and I really was impressed.
He is a pretty man. Anyway, what else? Do we have any other questions?
Over in the corner. Yes, sir. You, sir.
Sam Sabri with Windows Phone Central.
Oh, you know this.
We're stacking. I have a question for the.
I have a question.
For
What
Daniel.
do you guys want to see next from Microsoft? What's the future? I mean, what do you want them to execute on?
I want to see them do more transparency. Like this week was like a really welcome return to at least even a glimpse of transparency, right?
Actually, I would say maybe more than a glance.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm surprised we didn't bring that up as kind of a major theme of the show. For all of the specifics around free Windows and Windows 8 Update 1, but honestly, that kind of stuff.
I know. They actually did talk about futures again. It's been like 6 or 7 years since we've heard
That's
that.
something Satya Nadella could fix today with a stroke of a pen.
I think that's him
I
fixing
think he
it.
may have literally fixed it
Me
already.
too.
Yeah.
Me too. So I think
we
that's
were on
really
the
gonna be
outs
good.
for a while there with the Sinofsky regime, and I don't know if you noticed, but they're all gone now. And it's almost like the people in charge now suddenly realized we don't really have a lot of people following us anymore, and a lot of people covering us, and you know, there's a lot of interest.
Nokia
in,
was like that too.
Yeah.
Nokia used to be very quiet, but now, you know, starting a couple of years ago, their outreach to media and everything was phenomenal.
Yeah.
And I think Microsoft is either learning from that or taking the same page and doing their same techniques.
Smart.
Yeah.
Good question.
Yeah.
In the back, yes, sir. Did we give him a mic? Does he
He's
have a
got it.
mic?
This guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was talking about the guy in the red. After him. Okay. Yeah.
Wait, what?
Jeremy Tilley,
Hi, Jeremy.
software developer. We're from Oregon.
All right.
Come down to see the build show.
Home of the Deschutes Brewery.
Yes.
Exactly. So second day keynote, there was a lot of talk about Azure. And every PM that I talked to in the conference wanted to know, are you using Azure in your development? Are you using Azure for this or that? Moving forward, how much of the business at Microsoft do you think is going to be based on and rooted in Azure versus the past efforts they've made?
A ton.
Yeah. Azure has become key.
I know Azure, you know, they're moving more and more of their own software to Azure and their services. Like Office 365 right now is not hosted on Azure, but it's going to be. They finally think Azure's ready for that kind of thing.
FreeBSD.
All the new services that Microsoft builds, every single new service is on Azure. You know, Titanfall.
Oh yeah,
Right.
that was their big like test.
I
almost.
hesitated. I'm like, what's the name of that game?
It's such a
again?
cheap demo. You know? You guys getting bored? Here's Titanfall.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and even parts of Halo also are on Azure now. So I think it's going to be everything from Microsoft from now on is Azure.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
That makes sense.
Yep.
I want to go on record as saying I did write an article saying that Azure was the future of Microsoft, and that they should change the name. That Windows didn't make sense.
Right.
For
Now it's
Azure.
Microsoft Azure.
Yeah, it's Microsoft. Yeah.
So it's not just the iPad, Leo. Sometimes I get it right.
Every once in a while.
Any other questions?
Once every 7 years.
Does somebody who has the microphone?
So I have one question for Paul and Mary Jo. How do you guys deal with all the new devices that are coming out? And I know that, Paul, we've seen in your house last week in episode all the devices you had. Mary Jo, how do you have all those devices in your apartment in New York City? Where do you store them?
Right.
I do not. I'm not a reviewer per se, so I actually have a hard time getting devices. The only company that right now is consistently sending me devices is Nokia, and that's pretty new. So to get my Acer S7, I had to have Padre SJ here at the Brick House do a little divine intervention, so to speak. And,
a device intervention.
He got it for me, and he got Acer to send me a loaner, but I could not get any loaner devices.
Yeah.
So my house is not full of boxes of devices, just beer.
My
not
house
devices.
is literally made of boxes.
Yeah.
And
mine too.
It's actually this is like one of those things where
Mine's
I think
made out of old computer shop.
Yeah. People, this is a first world problem, however you want to say it. I mean, it must be nice kind of thing, but actually, honestly, it's a kind of a terrible responsibility, and sometimes it's hard to get them to take them back. Wow. And I know that sounds like a weird problem, but I don't want these things around. I mean, it's kind of a problem.
I haven't reached that point yet.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I mean, obviously, if they want it back, they can have it back. But the problem is on the other end. So what do you do with these devices? I can't sell them. I didn't pay for them. It gets weird sometimes. So. I know this is just an unfamiliar thing for a lot of people, but it's actually kind of awful. And my wife is constantly on me because of the kind of Sanford and Son quality of my office. And
Are you gonna do another Everything Must Go soon?
I can't sell a lot of that stuff.
Give them to charity?
Yeah, I've done that in the past. I've done that a lot. In fact, I've given many of those original tablet PCs and laptops to churches and things like that.
I got a little tip. What you do is you build a giant studio, you hire 25 people, and then you just give them your own.
Yeah, right. There you go.
That's really the whole point of this.
I will hear from people who say, Paul, this is a simple solution. You can just give it to me.
Yeah. Totally.
It's a little. It's
the last count. I'm up to over 50 smartphones.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so,
that drives my kids nuts.
Yeah,
my kids
but
want.
I can't give them up.
Yeah,
I bust out an old Trio or something. I'm just like, oh, and memory.
I will. Okay, so. All
I still have that original Apple iPhone.
You have a serious problem.
I know. I should be in Hoarders or something, right? Like,
that's why you have to move, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's I clean house.
There is sort of a reviewer aspect to it, right? So.
Yeah.
If just to use like a mini tablet kind of thing. So if Dell releases a new version of a mini tablet in 2 months that is improved in some ways, I can't just go off my memory. I can't remember what I had for breakfast.
Absolutely.
So it helps to have
reference
the devices around us to refer to them.
Also, you
Windows
feel
Phone
better.
8.1.
It's like your friends are just.
No. I really want this stuff gone. I don't like having it around. But.
By the way, according to, and thanks to the chat room for tipping me off, according to John Gruber, who is an Apple fanatic.
Oh yeah,
is he?
iCloud runs on Azure.
Right. Do you know he was part of the keynote? Did you hear this?
What? They mentioned John Gruber?
They had a whole video of John Gruber and Vesper as an Azure customer at the keynote.
Wow.
I know. I was kind of shocked by that.
Just in case you thought Microsoft wasn't serious about the whole interop thing.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
It was. It was surprising.
More questions from the group here. Who has the microphone? Yes, sir.
My name is Bill Bast, and I work for Jeppesen. And one of the things that I thought was interesting about the developer conference was Visual Studio Online. Because as a developer, you're always constantly configuring your machines and such. And with Azure and that concept, I mean, now you can basically write your applications in a virtual environment on a machine and all configured for you. What do you think about that, Mary Jo and Paul?
Yeah, I thought that was really interesting too, right? And it's part of that Azure portal that they showed. Visual Studio Online is integrated right into that, right? So that's really cool, and it shows you how big a priority this is for them too. So yeah, I think that's going to be big for them. Paul?
What she said? No.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I do too. I mean, there was a time when I looked at Visual Studio Online and I thought, this is how they get around the whole RT thing. I mean, this is how you get people on other platforms to develop for Microsoft-style mobile devices, and that's probably still true, sort of. But obviously, it's in a very nascent kind of state, and so.
Another developer,
Yeah.
and they just have instant access to all their tools and computers.
I think this is just another expression of something that's happening everywhere at Microsoft, where it's just kind of going to the cloud. And so I think every group at Microsoft was tasked with, okay, you make something, how do we turn it into a service? Yeah. I mean, there's pseudo services you can do. Like Windows is delivered just as sort of as a service, but it's really just software that you install on your computer, and so they can service it later like a service. But it's still software that sits on your computer. And so obviously at some point you want to get this stuff to be pure cloud services where it makes sense and where you can do that.
Yeah.
Office may work that way in the future. You could almost imagine a version of Office Online where it has offline support, it works through a browser, and that would just work. I guess it depends on the software, So Visual Studio is absolutely something. I mean, rather than port Visual Studio to Mac or whatever, or port it even to RT, WinRT, it works in the cloud.
I wonder if they'll do that though. Visual Studio on Mac.
Yeah, they might.
Be pretty crazy.
By the way, the day they do that, I quit. But but they might.
Here's Russell Solovey. He's drinking a Stegmeyer. On our chat, we're just going to go through our chat list.
What is that
Twitter
crazy
list.
keyboard he has?
I know. It looks like a Starship Enterprise
Yeah,
there.
it
He's
does.
got a clock on it and all sorts of things.
Ooh.
Hi, Leo. I am not an alcoholic. So that's actually been tweeted to by Windows Phone A1. So I think Cortana
That is hilarious.
Cortana is responding.
Oh, no, that's not really
to us.
That's actually really funny.
Isn't that funny? Is that an official account?
No, I don't think so.
No.
So that's good. That's
yeah, I'd like to hear from them. Net Tom, he says, I'm having a Yellen in Belgrade.
Nice.
Howard's drinking a German Weissbier. We've got some more Lagunitas undercover. We love that.
Oh, I was going to say, that's got to be, that's here, right?
It's
Lagunitas
Alan.
is
Oh,
from-
hi, Alan. How
No,
are
but
you?
the Lagunitas is local, isn't it?
Yeah.
From
Montreal, your favorite.
Finally, someone with some class.
Misael Nisrushwa is drinking Fin du Monde. Art is drinking Diet Coke. Art, you don't count. Here's a
Pacifico.
Monkey McGeorge having a Pacifico. I think sock puppets should not be allowed to drink. I know it's a controversial stand.
That is funny.
There's a picture. Oh, yeah. Now we have a picture of the picture.
Yes.
Of the tweet. Boondoggle from Michael Gerard in the UK is a deliciously fruity draft blonde ale.
Nice.
Deliciously fruity.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's a little too
fruity.
Dan Lewis is
fruity.
drinking a Perrienbacher in France.
Wow.
Perlenbacher in France.
Perlenbacher.
Yeah, pretty nice.
Not
Pretty
1684 or whatever that is. What's
Yeah.
the big beer in France?
SongArc just wanted a plug for their 900,000 plus SongArc downloads. You got it.
It's a good app.
Is it? I don't know it.
Oh, it's
That's
a game.
great.
It's a music game. It's sort of
Oh,
like
far
Dance Dance
out.
Revolution. Yeah, it's.
I don't know
amazing.
what this beer is. Sierra Nevada Pale Ale from Ian. Awesome. Now I have no idea how to get out of that.
This
This
podcast
Twitter
has
thing will
been
never work.
completely usurped.
It'll never go anywhere. Question from the audience. Yes, sir. State your name and
the other Australian Mark.
All right.
I have a question. Like the fact that Windows is giving developers the ability to develop for Windows Phone, Xbox, and Windows all in one area is great. But I'm wondering if you've heard, or maybe if anyone in the audience has heard, the actual modern usage in Windows 8. Like they have modern apps, but how many people are actually using them, and what's their usage stats like? Because anyone who installs a start menu is pretty much trapped in Windows in the desktop mode, and most people are using the desktop. So how many people are actually using modern apps at the moment? Like they all tout the fact that there's a massive user base in Windows 8.
Yeah.
But how many people are actually using these modern apps?
I think it's telling that Windows 8.1 and future updates are based around bringing back desktop features.
Yeah.
They're never going to say how many, right? They're not going to give us a hard number, but I think you can just look at what they're doing and draw your own conclusions, which are that most people that run Windows do run the Windows desktop.
Apps to the desktop, which I guess gives
So
them
that's a
more
way to get the usage up, right? And like you were saying, I think earlier, oh no, I'm sorry, it was Alan. Putting the store icon on the taskbar is another way. Get people who use the desktop to think about that stuff. I think letting them run in Windows is going to help a ton. a ton. Because, there are people who say things like, well, bring back the Zune software. Why can't the Zune software be improved? Allowing Xbox Music to run on the desktop would help.
Yeah.
That's
true.
We can take some questions from the chat. Chat's bemoaning the fact that
the alcoholics in the chat room. I don't think so, Leo.
Jeff Galley is having a Bugle Bay full-flavored bitter. I'm guessing he's either in the UK or Australia. Bugle Bay sounds like it's Australian. Is that Australian, Bugle Bay?
I don't know.
Here's a Watermill. May the force beer with you, says Dave.
That's awesome.
Nice. Watermill Dogs Vader.
That's pretty Dogs Vader.
Dogs Vader. Damn.
Take a drink on the dark side.
I'm that guy that's in that store, and I'll see that and like instant buy.
A label sells it.
They should have
Totally
the cap should be like a little Vader helmet.
Yeah,
You're right.
Yeah. No,
I saw one the other day. It was Heart of Darkness.
Just skip right over that.
No.
By the way, anyone who tweets light beer is going to be blocked.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Actually, Ryan's watching live for the first time. He's drinking a fairly nice Erdinger Dunkel.
He settled nicely into this whole theme of things.
Yeah.
He's figured out how life works. And Marcus Horster from Braunschweig, Germany, is drinking a fabulous Wolters Pilsner.
Nice.
Look at that thing. That's awesome.
Yeah. Questions from the chat room. CBG60 wants to know 12 million downloads of Office for the iPad.
I know.
Yeah.
Can that be true?
It's true.
Well, of course
I think
it's
it's
true,
every app, right? Like
Yeah.
it wasn't the
Is it
suite.
4 million of each
No.
app?
Yeah, I think it is
But it's
4
still
million.
millions. It's still millions.
Yeah.
Millions is good.
It is good.
Yeah, millions is
Yeah.
good. DB says, Daniel, what about no WP left behind? Why does T-Mobile deny updates on older phones?
Yeah, so that was the
Explain
Lumia.
yourself, sir.
No, that's the Lumia 810 I was referring to before. A device that, to be honest, it's good hardware, but it's not very pretty, and I don't think it sold very well. And so T-Mobile made the decision. I mean, this is the carrier thing, right? Carriers ultimately have to not only approve updates, but they test them, and testing costs money, and they make a decision whether or not it's worth it. Based on how many people actually bought the phone. And in this case, unfortunately, they made a decision the 810 won't get future updates. Now, I mean, Microsoft did do a solid by giving them app developer thing, so you can actually get 8.1 on the 810 regardless. You won't get the firmware stuff, so that's the solution. Now that I can guarantee you, Nokia wants to do the 810 update. Microsoft wants the 810 update. It's the carrier, and
The 810 is just it's an 820, 822 variant, right? It's just the same.
Right.
It's the same platform.
It's a custom device that was made for T-Mobile, and so it's one of the very few examples, actually. I think it's really the only example you can point to devices worldwide where a carrier has basically said we're not going to, giving more feature support for it. And unfortunately, that's the carrier right. They bought that phone. They bought the service for it. So, unfortunately, that's the way it goes.
Mary Jo and Paul, do you think Microsoft's just waiting for E3 to open up the Windows 8 App Store on the Xbox?
No, that's too soon.
Too soon.
I actually do think that's something that's further out, and they
That's
wanted
like Windows 9 plus.
Yeah, really? That
threshold.
long?
Yeah.
Threshold.
Yeah, threshold. Yeah.
Why?
Because that's where it sits. I mean,
Yeah.
that platform, the platform bits are part of threshold.
Do you think the U.S. is just... Oh, no, he just asked that. Let's see what else we've got here. Actually, Eric is asking about Microsoft Security Essentials. This is kind of off topic, but as we know, April 8th, that's the end of the line for Windows XP, and Microsoft said we're not going to update Essentials, but we'll update the definitions. But his version of MSE is saying no.
They said they were extending it through
They
Windows
did next year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would take that to be the...
There are third-party antiviruses that will go on and on and
there
on.
are. Yep.
That's an opportunity for them.
Yep. Panda,
anybody in the live audience with a question? Yes, ma'am. Or sir. I'm sorry. Yes, sir.
I just want to notice Michael Gladstein market rates inside, live in Marine and work. Just want to acknowledge our great chat users. And
are you in chat, sir?
I'm not currently, but...
You got to visit.
I want to give a voice to the chat members. They asked that question many times today. What are the chances of Service Pack 4 for XP?
Yeah.
XP
and
Service
if not,
Pack 4.
What are the chances of an asteroid hitting the Earth?
No, it's less than that.
Way less than that.
Worse than that.
Yeah.
Much
and
more
if not,
likely.
Well,
what
by the
is
way,
gonna
what,
do to
how
the
about a supported
security
OS?
situation with Windows operating system?
What are the chances of Windows 7 Service Pack 2?
0.
Right. So there's no way they're doing a I understand why you're asking that, right? Because the roll-up situation is insane. There's probably 1,100 updates you have to install the XP Service Pack 3 now. And I agree that just rolling them up into a single installable would be a huge convenience. I don't know why they don't do that.
Yeah.
I think the problem is it's kind of a slippery slope. Because
what is this you're showing?
It's like an XP ad. This is the Madonna song. The
wow.
That was the ad at the time. Right. So Windows 95 had Start Me Up.
It would let you fly?
Yes. I remember flying.
Windows XP lets you fly?
It's a Madonna song, right? The song is a Madonna song.
Let's hear it. I don't care.
It was introduced a few years ago.
Oh, there's somebody talking in the background.
That's not actually a Madonna song, but I believe it was.
Yeah, no, it was. Yeah, no, that's yeah. That's when she was going through her techno dance phase. Not that I follow Madonna.
Daniel!
You're telling on yourself.
I grew up in the 80s. What do you want?
I really wonder why they're making people fly, because that seems like over-promising, under-delivering.
Leo, this OS has been in business for 15 years almost. Are you kidding me? I mean...
XP was good.
Yeah.
Too good for its own good.
Anyway, to actually answer
Ray
your
of
question,
Light. It was. Beef says it was Ray of Light.
Yeah, I don't think
yeah.
I don't think we're ever going to see that.
No.
Never.
Because that indicates they're supporting it, and
Right.
they
want to move forward.
They want to screw you over. You know.
More questions from the live audience? Is anybody else? John, this guy right here really wants to ask a question. We keep ignoring him. Right there with a red stripe. Raise your hand, sir. Yeah. That guy next. Go ahead, sir.
My name's Ed Boyan.
Hi, Ed.
I also spend most of my day in Windows 8 in the desktop, but and I'm gradually moving to the modern side occasionally. But one of the things that would make it more useful is if desktop apps could interact with the modern side.
Right.
And there was
Absolutely.
a panel session that I went to with the desktop people. One of the depressing things is they seem to all be over the age of 55. But
Yes.
one of the things that they talked about was the possibility of having a snap view between a modern app and a desktop app.
Just the app.
And the other thing that was talked about was the possibility of desktop apps being able to participate in contracts with modern apps.
So this is something we've talked about on the podcast a lot.
And do it without the desktop app having to write any new code.
Right.
Well, okay, let's not get
And then they're talking about
What about, you mean that broker
but why
component
can't
thing that they talked about?
the contract where you bring in
Yeah. No, but why
Share button.
can't
Yeah.
Win32 be extended with support for Metro style
What
APIs?
they were talking
Give it
about
a-
was wrappers for Win32 that would be optional because some of these wrappers, particularly for the Windows scaling thing, which was another thing they were talking about, there's some things that they could do with wrapping GDI that would make the scaling a lot better, but it would also break a lot of desktop applications. So by making these wrappers that are optional.
Can we talk about that?
But the thing that was interesting to me is that they were so responsive to this and that they were just considering these kinds of things.
So we don't know anything about Microsoft's plans for that. We completely agree that that should happen. I would just say that it's possible that
Some
party
developers
tools might
be making something like
I heard a
address
developer
at least part of that.
doing this idea of snapping Metro apps.
Yeah.
It was
So-
actually coded within like an hour.
It was.
Right? Yeah.
Right, so-
So that's no, I'm sorry, I wasn't anymore. But yeah.
Yeah.
They want to spend a lot of money
Yeah.
on the desktop side.
Well, you know what, though? They have gone back and said, look, we get it. People care about the desktop. There are 1.5 million people. 95% of them really care about the desktop. And so I've always thought and still think that they need to address that issue, and they should add support for the contract, share contract especially, but not whatever, various contracts. Support for Snap. Support for Windows desktop apps to go into a full screen mode that literally takes over the screen and gets rid of the Chrome.
Yeah.
When you go to multiple screens.
That stuff is hard because a lot of developers would have to explicitly support. I don't think that can be done automatically because it probably could be, but it would create a messiness because a lot of those apps are bitmaps that won't scale well.
I talked to the program manager in charge of that. He said that there is actually a scaling pipeline in GDI.
Yep.
And it's complicated, but they're looking at being able to do something.
Okay.
Let's see.
I hope they do it.
I
don't
want
know.
to start to wrap this up because we have another show in about 20 minutes, and we've been here for a long time. You guys have been very. I guess give them beer, they'll stay forever, right?
Powered by beer.
Leo, you are not going to be able to get rid of us.
We'll keep talking
We're
even if the
wandering
cameras
in
are
on
off.
the-
Yes, sir. Sorry.
We'll walk
Go
in
ahead.
front of the other
Your
show.
question.
Yeah, so one question for Paul and one for Major Foley. Gotta be fair.
What's your name?
So, my name is Zalek.
And what brings you to Build?
Actually, I'm local to Cupertino. Drove 2 hours, no big deal.
Okay, all right.
Wow. Okay.
So Office on Demand with OneDrive without installing either software, it works great. I've been using it. Any thoughts on Windows on Demand like that?
Yeah.
That's a question for Paul.
I thought what you were going to ask was what happened to Access and the other apps, because the way it works now is if the application is available in Office Online, it's available, but because they changed the whole Office Online website, a lot of the other Office apps got kind of lost in the transition, so I don't actually have an answer for that one. But Windows Online, what would you be hitting it from? You know, in other words, like you have a Chromebook or something and you want to run.
That's one application, or
Screw those
VDI
guys.
of my cloud.
Isn't there something like that?
Yeah, so this would be like a
virtualization
desktop.
like
It's a
that.
desktop as a service.
Who Office is that? Amazon offers something like that.
And so does Azure will. soon.
Yeah, they
And
will.
Azure will.
Yep.
So it's absolutely possible.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right now on Amazon, you can
Yeah.
have a Windows install. I think it's $35 a month. You can have Office installed on it, and you can run it from
I mean, online.
anything.
Online.
Online, from anything, yeah.
Absolutely possible. They've not, I mean, all beyond Azure.
Yeah.
I mean, they haven't really announced it. But
Isn't it funny, though, that Amazon did it first? It seems like.
Well, you know what? They're cross-platform.
Yeah.
Right.
They're kind of heterogeneous. I mean,
They already
there's
do it.
There's some
Right.
sense there. But I expect to see that on the enterprise side first, right? Because it's sort of a natural extension of EDI. And the consumer's picture there is a little fuzzier. I'm not really sure if there'd be a lot of demand, especially for people that would want to pay for it. You know, it's possible. I mean, I guess I could see iPad users, especially, or any tablet users who had the occasional need to run a Windows something, an application or whatever for work. You know,
It's called
but it all
Amazon,
ties back. It always goes back to work.
Amazon Workspaces.
Yeah,
It
so
would
the-
let you run Windows on a Fire, a Kindle Fire.
It's desktop as a service.
Right.
And
So, Microsoft is building desktop as a
Yes,
service.
yes.
We know they're building it.
Well,
It's-
by the way, there isn't anything in Azure that hasn't happened first on Amazon.
Right.
I mean, that's you know, as good as Azure is. Let's be honest. I mean, Amazon got there first every single time.
yeah, we don't know when that's coming. It's codename Moharo. Maybe this year, next year. But they're in the midst of building it right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Quick question for MJF here. So Office 365 small business, it works great. All the Office functions, but Link to replace GoToMeeting is an absolute horrible experience in my experience.
Is it just in that version?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Link 2013.
Yeah?
It
Wow.
works horribly, and
Wow.
it doesn't have like dial-in functions or anything. So
Yeah.
any,
It is a
okay.
Microsoft product. I got to.
No, okay. So I think part of that is tied to the fact that in the current version, Link Online doesn't have some of the PBX replacement type stuff that you would see on the on-prem version of Link, and so that's changing. And so over the next year or so, you're going to see that product evolve on the cloud side, and like all other Microsoft products, evolve first in the cloud side. And so I think the big missing piece with Link has been, you know, full PBX replacement in the cloud from the cloud version, which is available on-prem. You know, so I think that's probably why.
Well, I think unless somebody has a burning question. Oh,
He has a burning
question. Damn. Almost made it out of here, right here.
So going back again to the pricing announcement they made for Windows, obviously the goal for dropping it down to 0 is going to increase the adoption for small form tablets and computers. What do you think the reaction is going to be, knowing that they from well over half of all Android manufacturers, Microsoft actually gets money on those, but Windows will actually be free without them asking for
So it's
patent
cheaper.
money. So it actually is
What's cheaper than
than
free? Windows.
Cheaper than free
Yeah.
on Windows.
Yeah.
Do you think that's gonna have any additional attraction for
That's
OEMs?
what they're hoping.
I do. I think that the company, a lot of the companies, the white box type of companies that make small devices, are like little parasites, and they need to save money wherever possible. And I think this is going to, we talked earlier about the whole Windows Phone thing. I mean, drop the price of Windows Phone licensing, and it's like voila.
Yep.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, half the planet signs on. These are companies that no one has ever even heard of here in the United States.
Carbone,
They announced these companies in the show. I was like, who are these companies?
Yeah.
What is this? It's like
And they're huge in
Bandai
India.
Electronics.
Huge
Like
in
who
China.
are these companies? Like,
Yeah,
I mean, that's what happens, right? And so we'll see how it goes. But I think this gives us like I'm part of it. Like I get a small royalty on every Windows sale. It gives my not anymore. It's free. It gives Microsoft a leg up on Android, I think, and that's what they needed. And
The patent question is interesting in that though too, right? Like, how much do they still pay for patents? So you get the OS.
I don't think
for
they pay
free,
anything.
but
I think you're
think
licensing.
you
get it.
You think?
Yes, of course.
I don't
There's no
know.
separate licensing fee. You're licensing Windows.
We'll see.
Yeah, I think.
Boy, I really want to thank, first of all of you in the live studio audience. You guys are great. I know we gave you beer. We plied you with food. But you really did a great job. It's nice to have you here. I also want to thank Mary Jo Foley. I'm so glad you came out for Bill. And come back anytime. It's really so great to do this show live with you. I really appreciate it.
But
You
she
too,
was
Paul.
one of the latest to leave last night.
You guys were later than me.
Yeah.
I know you're all hungover.
All I'm saying is I saw Brad this morning, and he did not look good.
Yeah, that was a late night.
Yeah.
So the Build Blogger Bash was a
It's a roaring success.
Of course it was.
I got hugged 6 times by Brad Sams.
Wow.
He kept forgetting he hugged me.
That's alcohol.
Sure he did, Mary.
Yeah,
Jo.
sure. Let's do that again.
Yeah, let's do that again.
I like that.
Neo-N.
Good. So you're gonna do that again, the Build Blogger Bash,
we
not
are.
hug Brad.
No, not hug Brad.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's going to be an every year thing now.
I would say so.
Yeah,
You got it.
Microsoft even
It is
sponsored
coming back to
too.
San Francisco
Yep.
next
That's
year.
great.
Yep.
And Build will be in San Francisco next year, so
Yes.
we will
Okay.
be here
We'll be
next
back.
year. We'll do this exact same
Yep.
thing.
I'm
I'd love
hoping
to do
there's
it
one in
more often.
October.
Good. I'll do it in October. We love it. Paul Thurrott, so great to have you, my old friend, and you're looking better every day. I'm getting
Sadly, you, Leo. It's interesting that you're still around.
And Daniel Rubino from WP Central, we were a great fill-in for Paul when he was out, and it's great to have you back.
It's my pleasure. It's great to be here with everybody. I mean, it's just really exciting times.
Yeah, what a lot of fun. Normally, Windows Weekly is on Wednesdays, I think.
It's Wednesday?
It is.
Yes, everybody's nodding. 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern Time. That's 1800 UTC, and we will be back on our regular schedule next week.
Yep.
And normally it's also not 3 hours long. That's another exception. No, we weren't that long, 2.5 hours long. But it was a lot of fun, and we certainly had plenty to talk about.
Yes.
So thanks to all of you for being here. Thanks to you for watching at home. And we'll see you next time on Windows Weekly. Bye-bye, everybody. Give me another hug. Give me another hug. More beer.